Chapter 148. A small colored rock sect dares to be so arrogant? With that, a disciple from the Smoky Wind Valley jumped into the battle array and started fighting with Zhongban Bao. Their cultivation levels were not high, only at the second stage of the Spirit Core disciple. But to be chosen to fight at the peak of Wushuangju, how could they be ordinary people? Only to see the two of them exchanging blows, profound spirit chi covering their entire body, they began to crazily kill each other. All kinds of exquisite mystical techniques were used, one after another. The fight was in full swing. It was an eye-opener for the onlookers. They clapped and cheered. The disciples of the previous batches have never been this outstanding. And this is just a waste of manpower. I wonder what kind of surprise we'll have in the future. The leader of the Congregate of Treasures sect looked at the two figures moving within the array and nodded his head. His power is indeed not bad, but his moves are too fake. There are too many flaws. Any participant from my Long Ao nation can defeat him in 5 breaths of time. Without waiting for the people from the Congregate of Treasures sect to reply, a deep voice sounded out from behind. The God Treasure King turned his head to look and saw the resting area of Long Ao nation. The only king of Long Ao nation, Long Ao Tian, was holding onto a cup of spirit tea, laughing and saying. When the elders of Colored Rock sect and Smoky Wind Valley heard that, their faces became ugly, but they dared not say anything. In terms of strength, the two sects were not Long Ao nation's opponent. However, this was only the primary disciples. When the elite disciples went up, that would be the main show. Even if their strength was low, but in terms of individual strength, they would still have a chance. This unparalleled hero gathering was actually a battle of attrition. In the early stages, the weaker disciples would go up and exhaust the strength of the other sections. When the other sects were unable to send out their elites, they would continue to exhaust them, providing convenience for their own sect's elites, creating the conditions for victory. The more people the sect sent, the more advantageous it would be. The Peerless Hero Gathering did not set a limit on how many people each sect could send, but if a large group of people came, people would look down on them. Wasn't this just taking advantage of the situation and bullying the few with numbers? Bang! At this moment, a muffled sound rang out from the duel formation. Everyone hurriedly looked over and saw a figure flying out of the duel formation. He fell heavily to the ground and spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. Just as he stood up, he fainted again. Smoky Wind Valley wins. The God Treasure King stood up and shouted, "All right!" The disciples of the Smoky Wind Valley all stood up and shouted excitedly. The elder of the Smoky Wind Valley was also extremely comforted and laughed. On the contrary, the people from Colored Stone sect had dark expressions. 2 disciples ran out of the resting area and pulled the unconscious person back. Usually, if a sect was defeated, they would have to wait for 2 more groups before they could send out their disciples. If 2 sects sent out their disciples at the same time, it would be a 3-man battle royale. However, such situations were rare. Although it was a fight to the death, the people of the sects still understood the concept of courtesy. Of course, there were also special circumstances. If the disciples of 2 top sects fought, and the other sects were afraid and no one challenged them, the defeated party could still send disciples to challenge them. Clang! The sound of a sword whistling could be heard as a dazzling and sharp flying sword pierced into the dueling array. Everyone was startled as they looked up to see a person dressed in luxurious Blade Master robes gracefully landing on the sword hilt like a feather. He was a disciple from the Immortal Sword sect. "Senior brother, please enlighten me." The person from the Immortal Sword sect smiled and cupped his hands. The Smoky Wind Valley disciple's face changed as he shouted, "Watch out!" The 2 of them started fighting. Everyone's attention was once again attracted to them. Every move was a killing move. Mystical techniques were endless. A few of the people who were confident in their own strength started to feel nervous. If they were to go up, could they win against these people? Su family region. Su Qing Air. The great clan elder looked at the dueling array and called out. Hearing that, Qing wanted to go over, but Su Yun stopped her. "Don't worry, young master, it's fine." Qing Air revealed a beautiful smile and called out softly. She then let go of Su Yun's hand and walked over. Su Yun's eyes swept across the great clan elder. Seeing that the second clan elder was looking at him, He signaled him with his eyes to watch out. The second clan elder and Su Shilong's lives were in Su Yun's hands. Who would dare to disobey his orders? He immediately nodded his head. Clan elder, what orders do you have? Qing Air bowed. Get ready. You will go up later. The great clan elder said indifferently. What? When he said that, Qing Air was stunned. Not to mention her. Even the surrounding disciples were extremely shocked and dumbfounded. This great clan elder, Qing Air, is our Su family seated participant. She will be the last to go up. Why are you sending her up at the start? Aren't there many seated participants? The great clan elder said indifferently. Bai Shan, He Shui, Bai Guang, and He Jian are enough. Qing Air will go up first and show off her Su family's might. This Qing Air was in a difficult position. What? You want to disobey my orders? The great clan elder's face darkened and snorted. Qing Air's face changed. She immediately said, Qing Air doesn't dare. That's good. The great clan elder turned his head and said coldly, Get ready. The people from Smoky Wind Valley will be defeated soon. Yes. Qing Air nodded her head. She did not speak anymore. She walked to the side and sat cross-legged. She started to warm up. The hatred in Su Yun's eyes was extremely strong. But in the end, he did not say anything. At this time, he could only endure. You're Su Yun, right? Just at this time, a voice called out. Su Yun turned his head to look. He saw a familiar face in front of him. The person who came was around 20 years old. He wore the Su family's order badge. To be able to come here, he must be an expert from the Su family's inner sect. Who are you? Su Yun asked. Su Xiao. He said softly. Su Xiao? A few images flashed in Su Yun's mind. He had an impression. This seemed to be the person he met at Marshall Bone Mountain. What's the matter? He turned his head and asked. Su Yun, the sword sheath on your back. What's it for? Su Xiao's gaze landed on the sword sheath. His eyes flashed with a trace of complexity. Hearing that, Su Yun became alert. He looked at him and said, What's the sword sheath for? Naturally, it's for a sword. Why? Oh, nothing. I just feel that this sword sheath looks better. Su Xiao revealed a smile. His pale face revealed a trace of complexity. Today, Su Xiao was even skinnier than before. His hair reached his shoulders. It covered half of his face. His complexion was extremely pale. He no longer had the image of a handsome young man. It was probably because of the previous incident that he suffered a huge blow. But what was surprising was that he had already rushed into the inner sect from an outer sect disciple in such a short period of time. He was one of the elite disciples of the inner sect. Su Yun saw that Su Xiao did not speak. He turned his gaze and looked at the dueling array. But when his gaze shifted, he suddenly saw the immortal sword sect's area. The person who was sitting with her eyes closed was quietly looking at him. When Su Yun looked over, she hurriedly closed her eyes. Her expression remained calm, but the slender jade fingers on her knees were nervously curled up. This woman, why is she looking at me? Su Yun was confused. Puchi. Just then, the ear-piercing sound of flesh being cut came out. The disciples of Smoky Wind Valley were cut. Blood flowed all over the ground. Smoky Wind Valley was defeated. Qing Air looked at the great clan elder. Seeing that he did not signal, she did not make a move. So, a figure flew out from the Long Ao Nation. Compared to the other sects, the people of Long Ao Nation were already restless. It was the nature of the people of this nation to fight. Because of that, this nation was secretly known as the southern region's biggest hidden danger. The people of Long Ao Nation went up on stage. Without saying a word, they immediately started fighting. The man walked like a dragon and tiger. He did not even take out any treasures. He directly got close to the immortal sword sect disciple. 3 punches landed on the sword body. In a moment, he was forced to retreat. The disciple's footsteps were messy. He was already at a disadvantage. Only 3 breaths had passed. 4th breath. Just then, the prince of Long Ao Nation, Long Ao Tian, suddenly spoke. The people of Long Ao Nation heard him. His figure suddenly exploded. His speed was extremely fast. In a blink of an eye, he appeared in front of the immortal sword sect disciple and kicked him. Bang! The immortal sword sect disciple was thrown out of the dueling array. He truly defeated his opponent in less than 5 breaths. Long Ao Nation won. Voila! The experts of Swallowing Heaven's sect went up on stage. Everyone's attention was on the stage. No one thought that it would be the turn of the top 2 sects to exchange blows so quickly. The people of Long Ao Nation and the Swallowing Heaven sect did not give in to each other. They used all of their strength. The ground shook from their attacks. If not for the array weakening the destructive power of the attacks, the entire Wu Shuang Ju Peak would have been destroyed by the experts of the sections. The 2 sects fought endlessly, but the Swallowing Heaven's sect's foundation was stronger. In the first round, they barely won against the Long Ao Nation. Seeing that, Long Ao Tian frowned. He did not say anything. His 2 small sects went up to show their faces. After losing, they sent their experts to fight. The meeting of heroes was extremely intense. Suyin stared at the great clan elder. Didn't he want Qing Heir to go up? Why isn't he making a move? A portion of his sects did not send their disciples up. They were probably watching. But if they did not make a move, they would be looked down upon by the other sections. Finally, after the discussion, the Swallowing Heaven sect and the people of Long Ao Nation fought for 4 to 5 rounds. Finally, they could not hold it in anymore. A ray of gold light swept across the entire mountain peak. Following that, a dragon's roar descended from the sky and landed in the dueling array. A golden flower appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Before they could see the person clearly, a person had already landed in the array. The people of Long Ao Nation. Please advise me. A low voice came out. The people of Long Ao Nation immediately made their move. Without a trace of reservation. Without a trace of hesitation. Without a trace of mercy. The tyrannical chi that was unique to Long Ao Nation immediately exploded. The profound spirit chi enveloped the person from the Swallowing Heaven's sect tightly. He was completely suppressed. He wanted to instigate his chi to fight, but he was shocked to realize that his profound spirit chi was being suppressed by the opponent's chi. He was unable to move. Dong! A burst of dull sound came out. The person from the Swallowing Heaven sect was directly punched on the top of his head. His entire body was smashed into the ground. The ground cracked, and dust flew everywhere. The chi wave that exploded out from the fist was like a whirlpool that spread in all directions. It was like a bomb. Whether the person from the Swallowing Heaven sect was dead or alive, no one knew. Sigh. All the disciples sucked in cold air. So valiant. Everyone only had that thought in their minds. He was definitely a seated participant of Long Ao Nation. Su Qing Heir. Just at that moment, the great clan elder spoke out. Qing Heir was startled. She turned to look. Go up. A low voice came out. Chapter 149. Su Yin finally understood. Previously, the opponent was too weak. Qing Heir could easily defeat him, but now it was different. The opponent was not only strong, but also ruthless. The great clan elder wanted to pick a stronger and more ruthless opponent for Qing Heir. Was his motive to take revenge on Qing Heir? This old bastard. Su Yin cursed. What's wrong? Just then, the sword elder's voice suddenly came out. Senior, why did you come out? Haha, such an interesting event. How can I miss it? I felt the chi of many strong martial artists, so I ran out. Hey, what were you cursing just now? The sword elder asked, so Su Yin told him the truth. Hearing that, he became silent. After a while, he shook his head and laughed bitterly. As the great clan elder, you are so narrow-minded. For your Su family to be able to hold on until now, you are really powerful. As the leader, you must first have a big heart, but this great clan elder is so petty, he is a failure. I don't care how narrow-minded he is. I only hope that Qing Heir can leave safely. She is my only relative left in this world. Everything I do is just for her to be safe and happy. If she is injured because of this, even if I have to sacrifice everything, I will kill him. Su Yin muttered, the demonic nature in his words gradually revealed. You. The sword elder laughed bitterly. Is this worth it? Is there anything more valuable than this? He did not care about power, did not care about money, and did not even care about strength. If not for Qing Heir, why would he risk everything to train? Hua! Qing Heir carried the cloud water treasure sword and walked into the duel array. The lustrous array covered her body. Everyone's gaze gathered on this young and immature girl. Dressed in a clean blade master robe, her delicate face did not have any makeup. Her eyes were like autumn water, her hair was like a waterfall, her skin was like cream, and her figure was like a delicate flower. It was hard to imagine that such a beautiful girl was actually a seated participant of the Sioux family. Was she really an expert that the patriarch had painstakingly nurtured? Everyone from the various sects were confused. Ching Er held her sword in one hand and slowly walked forward. Her pair of gem-like eyes looked at the tyrannical Long Ao Nation participant who was dressed in a golden robe. Her sword slightly tilted, revealing a cold intent. "Please advise me," she murmured softly. However, these words were like the button of a bomb, instantly exploding the opponent. The golden-robed man moved, sweeping up a golden frenzy, and fiercely pressed forward. That person did not show any mercy. His hand shone with a golden light. It was his magic treasure, the golden light glove. Roar! In the unseen world, there seemed to be a divine dragon roaring. Golden patterns appeared on that person's solemn face, as if a divine dragon was hovering in the air. Whoosh! The powerful aura turned into a gale and blew over. The spectators shuddered with fear as they held their breaths in rapt attention. The people nearby even raised their hands to cover their faces as if they didn't dare to look directly at this ferocious and tyrannical move. However, in the time it takes for a spark to fly off a flint, a cold light flew up. Like a meteor in the night sky, it flashed and disappeared. No one had the time to catch the shadow of the sword before they felt a burst of profound spirit chi. Soundless and as fast as a swan. When the girl sheathed her sword, the profound spirit chi had already disappeared, completely hidden within the sword. All of these actions were completed in a single breath of time. The Long Ao Nation's representative, who was as imposing as a dragon, suddenly twitched his body and stopped. Everyone was stunned. The surroundings were extremely quiet. The dragon's roar disappeared. The sword's cry disappeared. Everything disappeared, and everything returned to the starting point. Just then, the chi on that person's body suddenly collapsed. Like a collapsing mountain, he collapsed. If a person with sharp eyes looked carefully, they would definitely be able to see a slender sword scar on his shoulders. The sword scar was extremely accurate. It did not harm his life, but it cut open his chi channels, causing all of the profound spirit chi in his body to leak out, disrupting the flow of his chi and forcefully stopping his mystical technique. Ching Er tilted her body slightly. Plop! The Long Ao Nation's representative immediately fell to the ground. Twitching a few times, suddenly the skin on his body split open. A large amount of blood flowed out. He was immediately heavily injured. Quiet. Abnormally quiet. So quiet that it was unimaginable. The clan elders all focused their eyes, looking at the young lady who gently sheathed her sword, looking at the figure that did not even have a speck of dust on it. Their hearts were all different. Half of the disciples were already dumbstruck, their eyes as big as a cow, staring at her as though they were petrified. One move. From start to finish, it was just one move. Two moves. That was an expert from Long Ao Nation. He was actually defeated by the opponent. Was that possible? Is this the expert from the Sioux family? Long Ao Tian stood up, the tyrannical look on his face. He bellowed. Zhongming, get ready. Yes, Your Highness. A participant from the Long Ao Nation immediately walked away to warm up. On the side of the Immortal Sword Sect. Yin Shan, disciple is here. Go and get ready. Wait till she is exhausted, then you go up. Yes, Master. The entire Wushuangju Peak was in an uproar because of the battle. The sounds of discussion did not stop, buzzing from small to big. The Sioux family side was already cheering. After fighting for so long, a few disciples of the Sioux family had gone up, but Ching Er was the first to win, and it was even one move. How could they not be excited? Although she is not at the spirit soul disciple realm, her sword techniques are already natural. Like moving clouds and flowing water, in time, she will be an incredible existence. The God Treasure King nodded his head. His face was filled with a gratified smile. He stood up and shouted, Sioux family wins. With that, the cheers became even louder. Let me have a taste of your swordsmanship. Very quickly, another person jumped into the battle array. Everyone looked over. It was an elite from the exuding fire sect. His strength was already at the 6th stage of the spirit core disciple. The current Qing heir's strength could not be detected. Most likely she was wearing a treasure to hide her cultivation. As an expert groomed by the patriarch, he had to conceal his own strength and not let others casually find out. If not, he would be easily targeted by the opponent. Please guide me. Qing heir bowed. Her delicate face was filled with determination. Her eyes looked at the opponent, pulled out her sword, and stepped forward. Her chi was gloomy. Her steps were steady and swift. The sword tip was precise and sharp. Her gaze was level with the sword tip. Wherever she looked, the sword would be there. Her attack was perfect. Her defense was flawless. Su Dongfang, who was watching, a strong desire to possess rose in his eyes. This kind of woman, why would she follow that trash Su Yun so wholeheartedly? Su Dongfang clenched his teeth, clenched his fists, and thought. 10 rounds later, the young lady in the battle array was still holding onto her sword. The surrounding floor was filled with the blood of the disciple from the other sections. A disciple from the 3 items deity palace was lying on the floor, unconscious. His entire body was covered with sword scars. His own spear was scattered on the floor. Looking at his opponent, Qing heir, she was not injured at all. Victory! Everyone was in disbelief. She single-handedly defeated 10 elite experts from the other sects. The clan elders could not sit still anymore. No one thought that the young lady from the Su family would be so valiant. Haha, I never thought that your little female servant would be so powerful. This sword technique, TSK, ordinary people would need to train for more than 10 years to be able to achieve this. The sword elder exclaimed. But she only trained for a few years. Su Yun's face surfaced a smile. I never thought that Qing heir would be so powerful. Seems like I was worried for nothing. But even though she is powerful, the other sects are not to be trifled with. She has been fighting continuously and has already used up too much of her energy. Continue fighting. She will definitely lose. So be it. It doesn't matter. I don't wish for her to continue fighting. The Su family's ranking has nothing to do with me. Qing heir held onto her sword, gasping for breath. After fighting continuously, the chi in her body had been depleted. Obviously, she could not continue fighting. Yin Shan. Just then, a shout came out, resonating through the entire Wushuangju Peak. From the Immortal Sword Sect's area, a young lady who was the same age as Qing heir slowly walked out. The young lady's gaze was sharp, her eyes filled with passion, staring at Qing heir, step by step. The sword in her hand also trembled at this moment. Below the stage, Bai Yinshan had always been watching Qing heir's every move. Initially, the two of them had an agreement in the Su family to fight in the future, and today was the day to fulfill this promise. Junior sister Bai is going up. Yinshan. Senior sister Bai, you can do it. Junior sister Bai, you must win. The disciples of the Immortal Sword Sect were in an uproar. One by one, they stood up and shouted. At this moment, Bai Yinshan had already entered the battle array. Looking at Qing heir, who was gasping for breath, she did not make a move. I'll give you some time to recover. You can take some chi-returning pills, and then fight with me. Bai Yinshan said blandly, but the fighting intent in her heart was extremely strong. She thirsted for battle. She thirsted even more to spar with a strong martial artist. No need. You can make your move anytime. Qing heir took a deep breath and said, Oh. Bai Yinshan frowned slightly. After thinking for a while, she said, You don't want to fight with me? Qing heir did not say anything. After taking a deep breath, she raised her sword and prepared herself. She had already defeated 10 experts from the other sects and was already an arrow at the end of its flight. Against Bai Yinshan, she had no chance of winning. Why should she persist? Furthermore, she had promised Su Yun she could just casually deal with him. She did not need to answer to the Su family. Just that. Qing heir's thinking was reasonable, but in Bai Yinshan's eyes, it was a naked insult and provocation. Am I not worthy for you to make your move? Bai Yinshan frowned, her eyes filled with anger. Without saying a word, she immediately rushed forward. Her sword tip was dense, overbearing. Have you forgotten about our promise? Today, no matter what, you have to fight with me. A delicate voice came out. The sword tip had already reached. Straight for the vitals, not even an inch of mercy. If Qing did not defend, she would definitely die. Everyone's hearts were in their throats. They did not expect Bai Yinshan to be so calm on the outside. But her methods were so ruthless. Su Yun stared at the battle, his heart hoping that Qing could leave the array earlier. Su Yun. Just at this time, a voice came out. Su Yun raised his head and looked, only to realize that it was the great clan elder's voice. Disciple is here. His heart tensed up. He endured his anger and walked over. Get ready, the great clan elder said indifferently. Chapter 150. Hearing the great clan elder's words, the Su family all turned to look at Su Yun. Su Tai was afraid. He was worried that after Su Yun died, no one would give him the antidote. After thinking for a while, he walked over. Great clan elder, this is inappropriate. Bai Yinshan is the direct disciple of the great clan elder Shun Hong of the Immortal Sword sect. Her cultivation level is unfathomable, and her entire body is filled with top-grade treasures of the Immortal Sword sect. She is very powerful. Su Yun is just an outer sect disciple. To be able to observe the meeting of heroes is already a blessing from 3 lifetimes. To let him go up, isn't it a bit too early? Early? Why is it early? The great clan elder said indifferently. Qing can exhaust more than half of Bai Yinshan's strength. Although Su Yun is an outer sect disciple, his cultivation is not simple. He is almost at the 8th stage of the spirit intermediate disciple realm. It should be more than enough to deal with the exhausted Bai Yinshan, right? Chow chow your mother. Su Yun really wanted to shout. He removed the heavenly scale divine eye. If the great clan elder could not see through his cultivation, he would definitely be suspicious. He was just an 8th stage spirit intermediate disciple, and he wanted to challenge a spirit core disciple. How could the pressure be small? Although he had the experience of killing people on the wanted list, that was when he used the limitless sword arts and the death sword's power. Most of it relied on cultivation techniques and mystical skills. If he were to use all of this in front of everyone, wouldn't everyone know that he was the limitless sword lord? The experts from the Immortal Sword sect were there. How could they let him go? But if he did not use these 2 techniques, how hard would it be to deal with Bai Yinshan? It didn't matter. Su Yun did not plan to win. He just had to deal with it. He cupped his hands and said, since great clan elder has said so, then Su Yun will accept your orders. Su Tai and Su Shilong could not understand. Su Yun walked to the side and looked at the battle array. Taking a deep breath, he sat cross-legged and began to circulate his profound spirit qi, allowing his qi channels to circulate. In the duel array, Bai Yinshan was overbearing, her killing intent soaring. Every sword was aimed at the vital points. Qing sword techniques were not ordinary. The swift wind spirit qi wrapped around her sword was exquisite, but her physical strength was not enough. After fighting 10 experts, how could she be the opponent of the exceptional genius Bai Yinshan? The 2 of them had only exchanged about 10 moves, and Qing was already at a disadvantage. She was in a passive position and could not defend herself. That girl is so strong and aggressive. That girl of yours can't fight anymore and is planning to admit defeat, but she won't give you the chance. Every move she makes is aimed at your vitals. If you let your guard down, you might lose your life. Sensing the situation on the battlefield, the sword elder shook his head helplessly. This great elder has some foresight. Su Yun turned his head and stared at the person seated, and said, he had long seen through Bai Yinshan's character, and purposely did not let Qing have it easy. Such a petty person. How could he sit on the great clan elder's seat? Su Yun was extremely confused. Was he really just taking revenge? Would a person with such power and authority really care about such a small matter? Not good. Right at this moment, anxious cries burst out from the Su family disciples. Su Yun's heart jumped. He raised his head to look, only to see Bai Yinshan's slender white fingers holding onto the jade sword, releasing a row of sword images. In a moment, it enveloped Qing. Qing wanted to use her sword steps to escape, but her profound spirit qi could not keep up, and her speed was slow. Seeing that she was about to be attacked by the sword shadows, she had no choice but to use her sword cover to protect herself. Bang! Qing'er's body was directly struck by the sword qi, and she flew out, landing heavily on the ground. Her chest heaved up and down a few times, and she spat out a mouthful of blood. Her face was pale white, and her body was covered with sword wounds. She stood up with difficulty, but in the next second, Bai Yinshan had already rushed in front of her, and her sword was at her chest. Qing'er, Bai Yinshan looked down from above and said tyrannically, I always thought you had some strength, but I never thought you would be so weak. Although you have defeated many experts before, but from what I see, you should still have some strength. How can you be defeated so quickly? I have not even used my full strength. Qing'er did not say anything. Her eyes were dim, and there was not much light in her eyes. It was obvious that this move had injured her badly. Immortal Sword Sect wins. The God Treasure King stood up and shouted. Bai Yinshan quickly kept her sword and turned around, her back facing Qing'er, her expression filled with disdain. It was as though in her eyes, Qing'er was not worthy to be her opponent. Qing'er stood up with difficulty and staggered, her face getting paler and paler, and the blood at the corner of her mouth increased. Suddenly, her delicate body swayed, and she spat out a mouthful of blood from her mouth, and then she fell down. Shockingly, she had injured her qi channels. Qing'er. Su Yun's eyes were wide open. How could he care so much? He directly rushed over, picked up the girl, and hurriedly ran to the medical spiritual array here. A few female disciples of the Su family ran over and began to inspect it. Put it into the spiritual array, quickly. There are pills. Where are the healing pills? Quickly take it out. Slow down, don't be anxious. The disciples were flustered. Qing'er entered the array, and the medical array started to heal her wounds. Her qi stabilized, and the blood stopped. Su Yun looked at Qing'er, who was placed in the array, with a burning gaze. He saw that her pale face had regained some color, and her eyes were slightly opened. She had regained consciousness, and the anger in her heart had finally calmed down. Qing'er, are you all right? Su Yun anxiously went over and asked softly. I'm fine, young master. Qing'er is fine. Qing'er replied weakly. She extended her cold hands and grabbed onto Su Yun's big hands and blamed herself. I'm sorry, young master. Qing'er has implicated you. I originally wanted to don't say any more. Su Yun interrupted her. In a battle, everything changes in an instant. How can you surrender so easily? He stood up and spoke to the Su family people. All of you look after Qing'er. Su Yun will have to depend on everyone. With that, he turned and walked towards the great clan elder. Are you satisfied? He walked to the side and asked softly. What? The great clan elder's gaze did not change and asked indifferently. Then, Su Yun did not speak much and stared at the dual array, his gaze cold. Bang! The Taoist priest from Swallowing Heaven's sect had his arm chopped off by Yin Shan Sword Qi and was thrown out of the dual array. The Immortal Sword sect immediately erupted in cheers. In the past, when the Immortal Sword sect met the Swallowing Heaven's sect, most of them would lose, but no one expected Bai Yinshan to defeat them in just a few rounds. How could they not be excited? Kacha! Just then, they saw Su Yun caressing the sword sheath on his back, patting his sleeves. With a solemn gaze, he walked out. The great clan elder looked at him. He had already walked out of the Su family's array. The Su family all shifted their gaze and looked at the white-robed figure walking towards the dual array in surprise. Huh? Who is that? Su family's people? The Su family actually dares to challenge the Immortal Sword sect? Don't they know what death means? Su family's newcomer? I've never seen this person before. He looks unfamiliar. Hey, everyone quickly look, there's a badge on his waist. Su family's outer disciple badge? Outer sect disciple? He's an outer sect disciple of the Su family? What? The Su family actually sent an outer sect disciple to challenge? What are they thinking? Don't tell me they want to exhaust the Immortal Sword sect's strength? This level of battle, what's the use of exhausting their strength? The difference in strength is too big. Just one move is enough to settle it. 7th stage Spirit Intermediate Disciple. Just the 7th stage Spirit Intermediate Disciple actually went to challenge an Almighty Spirit Core Disciple. This was simply like striking a rock with an egg. The disciples and elders of the various sects were in an uproar. The person in charge of Blossom Heart Valley was Gue Mo Ju. Seeing Su Yin on stage, he was truly startled. Why did the Su family send Master Su Yin up? Although his medical knowledge is superb, when it comes to fighting and killing, he seems to be lacking. On the Immortal Sword sect side, Long Xianli, who had been resting with her eyes closed, stood up, her face full of surprise. Why did he run up? Xianli, what's wrong? Shenhong turned and asked indifferently. Long Xianli hesitated for a moment, then bowed. Great clan elder, Yin Shan's opponent this time is only a 7th-stage spirit intermediate disciple. It's just a night. Let her be merciful and deal with it. How can we do that? Shenhong shook her head. There's so many sects watching. No matter who our Immortal Sword sect is facing, we have to give it our all. But Long Xianli wanted to say something, but after thinking for a moment, she could only sigh helplessly. On the Su family side, all of the Su family disciples held their breaths and stared at Su Yin. They didn't know what was going to happen. They were also unable to guess what this outer sect disciple would do. Their only hope was that this outer sect disciple would be able to hold on for a little longer and hope that he would not bring shame to the Su family. The great clan elder looked indifferently at the battle array. His face was like an ancient well without any ripples. No one could guess what he was thinking. Hey, Su family, do you guys have no more people? You even send an outer sect disciple up? Are you looking down on us? Just then, a deep and rough voice came out. Everyone turned to look and saw that the person who spoke was actually the Duke of Long Ao Nation, Long Ao Tion. With this roar, the surrounding people immediately erupted. Everyone shouted out their doubts. That's right, Su family. Aren't you looking down on us too much? Using an outer sect disciple to deal with the task? Even if you want to fight a war of attrition, at least send an inner sect disciple up, right? The people from Exuding Fire's sect voiced out. Everyone stopped shouting. This Su family has already been taken care of by our stellar Sun Mountain. Those experts don't even dare to come out. Ha ha! All sorts of ridiculing laughter sounded out. The Su family was not considered a strong existence among the sects. Even if they were ridiculed by the other sects, no one dared to say anything. The great clan elder's expression was indifferent, but all the disciples' faces were flushed red, their fists clenched tight. Bai Yinshan quietly looked at the person who walked into the battle array, suddenly felt that he was familiar. After looking carefully, she realized this person was the Su family Su Yun that she had broken off the engagement with. The current him was much stronger than before. His face was not as pale as before, his eyes were more spirited, his steps were more stable, especially his chi. It was even more threatening, like an unsheathed sword. The change was really huge. Pity. His cultivation level was too low. Bai Yinshan shook her head lightly and said indifferently, So it's you. I never thought that after not seeing you for a period of time, you've changed so much. But although your cultivation level has improved, but it's still too weak, you're not my opponent. Give up yourself. Opponents that were too weak, she did not have any desire to fight. At least, they should be at Qing Heir's level. Suyin did not say anything, extended his hand, and touched the sword sheath on his back. A slender snow-white sword was slowly pulled out by him. The tip of the sword was whistling, the cold chi threatening. Seeing that, Bai Yinshan's eyes flashed a trace of astonishment. You're not giving up? Are you ready? Suyin leveled his sore body and said softly. His voice was very soft, very slow. But for some reason, Bai Yinshan's heart trembled. An indescribable, strange, throbbing feeling surfaced. Suddenly, Suyin moved. He released his sword. The sword tip naturally dropped down, piercing into the ground, and with a few quick steps, he landed in front of Bai Yinshan. The distance between the two of them was not even an inch. Bai Yinshan's eyes widened. She could almost feel Su Yun's breath. In a moment. Threads of spider silk like profound spirit chi exploded out from Su Yun's body. In a moment, it pierced through all the vital points on Bai Yinshan's body. Voila! All the almighty beings from the sects all stood up, staring at the scene in shock. Not good. Bai Yinshan's face changed, her nerves twitched, her body frantically retreated. Chapter 151. So, countless sword images revolved around Su Yun's sword body. Bai Yin Shan retreated in time and avoided the vital parts, but her body was struck by hundreds of swords. Although it was a small wound, but there were many places that had cut into her chi channels. The profound spirit chi in her body was in a mess. Blood flowed out. Her chi collapsed. She was injured, and the situation was not looking good. Just one move, shocking everyone. This is impossible. Shin Hong suddenly stood up, her face gloomy as she stared at the battle array. What sword technique is this? Long Xianli also stood up and looked over in astonishment. Does the Su family have such a strange and crazy sword technique? In a blink of an eye, the sword actually revolved 9 times, 981 times. What grade of sword technique is this? An outer sect disciple of the Su family has such ability? Why didn't Qing Air use it? Waves of discussions came from all directions, and the sounds of surprise, astonishment, and shock could be heard without end. Such a tyrannical sword technique. Such a strange sword technique. I have never seen it before. It seems to be using qi to control the sword, similar to the immortal sword sect's imperial sword technique. But this person is just an outer sect disciple of the Su family. How does he know the imperial sword technique? Swallowing Heaven's sect's Shirtian Daoran stared at the figure in the battle array, clutching his chin as he muttered. Imperial sword technique? Master, isn't that the unique divine technique of the immortal sword sect? How can this person have both? A disciple beside him asked curiously. Unique divine technique? Shirtian Daoran laughed bitterly. Who said the imperial sword technique is unique to the immortal sword sect? In the past, there were many famous sects with the imperial sword technique, but you guys have never heard of them. Although they have disappeared, but the techniques they left behind might still be circulating in the sky martial continent. Maybe this person had a fortuitous encounter and learnt this divine technique. Oh, is it a fortuitous encounter? More or less? Shirtian Daoran nodded. Everyone was boiling with excitement because of Su Yun's breathtaking move. He was like a piece of fiery red iron thrown into ice water, stirring up the water. Su Yun leveled his sword, his cold gaze staring at Bai Yin Shan, the evil qi in his pupils growing stronger. This kind of contempt, disdain, cold arrogance was like a needle piercing into Bai Yin Shan's heart. Looks like I can't underestimate you anymore. Bai Yin Shan's heart was set ablaze. She secretly clenched her teeth, enduring the pain all over her body. She suddenly pulled out her sword and rushed forward. Her swift wind spirit chi soared out. She was like a clap of thunder. Although her body was as beautiful as a flower, her killing move was extremely terrifying. Whoosh! As the cold light approached, the sword edge trembled rapidly and changed 3 times. Ordinary people could only see the shadow of the sword and were unable to catch the sword edge. But the moment the cold sword closed in, the white-robed man lightly raised his sword and moved in front of himself. Dang! Bai Yin Shan's sword was immediately blocked. The sword tip pierced the sword body. The swift wind spirit chi on the sword was like water splashed on the ground, scattering everywhere. Bai Yin Shan was startled. Her heart was startled. In terms of speed, he had actually lost. Damn it! It wasn't that simple. With so many powerful people watching, how could he admit defeat so easily? At that moment, Bai Yin Shan clenched her teeth, instigated her profound spirit chi. All the energy in her body was activated, supporting the sword, releasing the swift wind spirit chi, intending to force the sword away from her and stab Su Yun. But at this time, Su Yun's eyes suddenly turned gray. A ray of light shot out. Giant rock spirit nucleus. Someone outside the array shouted. Bai Yin Shan's body was immediately covered with a layer of lime. Although it was not thick, it made her movement stiff. Chance! Su Yun's expression suddenly turned sinister. He pulled out the 1,000-deep sword and slashed toward Bai Yin Shan. Without any hesitation, just like how Bai Yin Shan dealt with Qing Air, every move was a killing move. Buzz, 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 the 1,000-deep sword fell. Bai Yin Shan's heart trembled. Her face turned pale. She anxiously raised her sword to block. Dang! The long sword was blocked. Very good. Bai Yin Shan's heart was slightly happy. Her left hand moved quickly, staring at Su Yun, whose chest was wide open. She formed a finger seal, and was about to unleash a mystical technique, releasing her spirit chi. But at this time, the sword that was pressing against her body suddenly exploded with a terrifying true divine spirit chi. Like a huge hammer crashing down, the power was astonishing. Bai Yinshan held the sword with one hand, and the center of gravity was the finger seal on her left hand. She did not expect Su Yin to explode with such a shocking attack, and was caught off guard, her own sword pressed downwards, piercing her shoulder. A large amount of dark red blood spurted out. Bai Yinshan's delicate face was pale, her eyes filled with shock. True divine spirit chi? Why was he able to release true divine spirit chi? Was it because of the sword? Why did he have such swift and fierce reactions? Why was his chi even more powerful than mine? Wasn't he a 7th stage spirit intermediate disciple? How could he suppress a spirit core disciple like me? Why? Why? Bai Yinshan's heart was in a mess. She could not believe that this person was the trash that she forcefully broke off the engagement with. Clang! Just then, the sword tip flashed a cold light, and an even wider true divine spirit chi exploded, causing the 1,000 deep sword in Su Yun's hand to sink downwards again. Puchi! Bai Yinshan's body trembled. She felt that her left arm was about to be chopped off by her own sword. She opened her eyes, looked at the person in front of her, looked at his sinister expression, looked at his eyes. Wait a minute. That gaze by Yinshan seemed to have thought of something, and her entire body suddenly trembled. This pair of eyes, why were they so familiar? Cold, arrogant, bloodthirsty. This gaze, where did she see it before? Her mind flashed a few images. It was the time when she experienced the shocking battle at the Gu Mountain, the scene that she saw. That person's gaze. Wasn't it the same? Could it be this person was? Stop. Just at this time, a loud shout broke Bai Yinshan's train of thought. She suddenly regained her senses, only to see the opponent's arm turning. The sharp aura on the sword once again exploded. Following that, a force as strong as MT Tai pressed down on the sword. If the sword fell, Bai Yinshan would definitely not be able to block it. Once it slashed down, her entire arm would definitely be chopped off. Bai Yinshan was stunned. Her mind was blank. She did not even think of how to retaliate. Voila! A light yellow figure rushed out from the immortal sword sect, straight towards them. The person's cultivation was high. His chi was sharp. Once he got close, he extended his hand and pointed. A cold aura burst forth from his fingertip. In a flash, the sword that was about to slice off Bai Yinshan's arm. Dang! 1,000 deep sword was struck flying, spinning a few rounds in the air, stabbing into the ground, trembling nonstop. Hua! The entire crowd was in an uproar. Two parties fighting. There was actually someone interfering. This was something that had never happened before. Su Yin retreated a few steps, feeling his arm trembling intensely. He took a deep breath, stared at the person coldly. "Who? Me?" A deep voice came out. Shen Hong angrily stood in front of Bai Yinshan. Su Yun's eyes were cold. He bellowed. "This is the meeting of heroes battle array. Elder Shun is interfering. Isn't that inappropriate? This elder's way of doing things. Why do I need a junior like you to tell me what to do?" Shen Hong angrily snorted. "But your moves are so vicious. Every move is fatal. Don't tell me you want to kill me on the spot." Vicious? Fatal? Hearing that, Su Yin immediately laughed out loud. Elder Shun is truly powerful. Previously, when your disciple attacked, my Su family disciple Qing Er, which move was not vicious? Which move was not fatal? Why didn't you make a move then? But now that I have, your useless disciple is no match for me. You interfere? Heh, Elder Shun's eyes are truly unique. How dare you? Shen Hong was so angry that her entire body was trembling. She flew into a rage, directly leaping up, rushing towards Su Yun. What kind of small fry was this? He dared to teach her a lesson? How could she tolerate that? Su Yun's face changed. He anxiously retreated. He never thought that Shen Hong would be so furious. Without saying a word, she wanted to make a move. Shen Hong was the great clan elder of the Immortal Sword sect. Her cultivation was extremely dense. This move, her speed was so fast that even her shadow could not be seen. The swift wind spirit chi was like a gigantic wave, covering everything, leaving no place to hide. "Master, stop!" Bai Yinshan's face changed and anxiously shouted. "Elder Shun, quickly stop. The meeting of heroes cannot be unrestrained. The God Treasure King's face changed. He immediately stood up and shouted. But Shen Hong did not have any intention of stopping. Once she made her move, she would not stop until she was dead. Su Yun's pupils dilated. He wanted to urge the heavenly crystal and sprite shadow to block, but it was too late. Shen Hong's speed was too fast. No one thought that she would be so narrow-minded and so arrogant. She did not care where she was and immediately made her move, wanting to kill. Young master. Qing, who was in the medical array, opened her eyes wide, weakly stood up, and screamed her lungs out. Su Dongfang's eyes were filled with joy. His mouth curved into a smile. Clan Elder, quickly make your move. Stop Shen Hong. Su Xiao, who was on the other side, walked over and shouted to the great clan elder. But the great clan elder did not move, as though he did not hear him. Bang! In the time it took for a spark to fly, Shen Hong had already attacked. She did not use her sword to deal with a disciple of the lowest rank. She only needed one finger. The vast power attacked. Su Yun felt as though his body was about to be torn apart. Fuck, I'll fight. Su Yun clenched his teeth. He could not activate the heavenly crystal and sprite shadow in time, but he could use the 10,000 grudge pill. With this pill, as long as his head was not chopped off, he would be fine. But just as he was moving as fast as lightning, an urgent voice came out. Rascal, don't use it so easily. You're just an outer sect disciple of the Su family. If you use such a unique pill, it will definitely attract trouble. I'll block it for you. Senior. Su Yun was stunned. He felt his chest burning. Following that, a golden light burst out, straight towards Shen Hong. Bang! The intense destructive ripples surged out, like a storm of destructive chi exploding out in all directions. The dual array trembled crazily, receiving the most severe destruction in history, and all the people from the various sects, regardless if it was the clan elders or disciples, could not help but retreat, being forced to the point that it was hard for them to advance. Looking at Shen Hong, her body was actually flung out. Landing on the ground, she retreated a few steps, her chi and blood churning, her face pale. Su Yun was not any better. His entire body was flung out, directly falling on the stone steps behind him. Young master. Qing, who was at the side, broke free from the people beside her, ran over crazily, and helped Su Yun up. The beautiful lady's eyes were filled with tears, hugging Su Yun's body tightly, sobbing nonstop. Just that she did not realize, Su Yun's entire body was not injured at all, and his eyes were extremely dim, without a trace of life. Chapter 152. Long Xian Li's delicate face was as cold as ice. She rushed towards Su Yun like the wind. She anxiously checked his body, and after she was done, she was surprised to find that Su Yun was not injured at all. Strange. Elder Long, young master, is young master all right? Qing Er's eyes were filled with tears as she asked sorrowfully. Long Xian Li's heart congealed and carefully checked Su Yun's body again, and then asked suspiciously, not only is he all right, he doesn't even have any injuries. After receiving such a strong mystical technique, why is he not injured at all? Hualala. Just then, a group of people from Blossom Heart Valley ran over. How is it? Master Su Yun, how is he? Guamo Ju anxiously ran over with his elite disciples and anxiously shouted, Master Ghost, you came at the right time. Take a look at his situation. Long Xianli could not find any clues, so she let the professionals do it. On the other side, Shen Hong saw that Su Yun was already lying on the ground, motionless, so she did not make any more moves, snorted, and turned to leave. Immortal Sword Sect is so despicable. Suddenly, an angry roar came out from the Su family. Everyone looked over to see a skinny man with long hair and a pale face standing out. With a face full of anger, he pointed at Shen Hong. The two sects are fighting, fists and legs have no eyes. If you are afraid of death, then admit defeat. Why do you have to be brave? Look at your Immortal Sword Sect. When you are about to lose, you interfere. Not only did you stop the competition, you even injured him. Good, good. Your Immortal Sword Sect is truly powerful. I, Su Xiao, have finally seen it for myself. Su Xiao, since when is it your turn to speak? Shut up. The great clan elder turned his head and said unhappily. But Su Xiao was not afraid and continued to shout. Today, in front of so many almighty sects, Shun Hong, you have to give us an explanation, right? That's right. The Immortal Sword sect broke the rules of the meeting of heroes and injured my Su family people. The heavens cannot tolerate this. We want justice. We want justice. The Immortal Sword sect people must give us justice. The Su family all shouted loudly, their expressions agitated. The great clan elder frowned. A small Su family dares to oppose my Immortal Sword sect? Seeing that, Shun Hong frowned and was about to explode. Clan elder Shun. Before she could move, an angry shout rang out. Shun Hong's body trembled. Looking to the side, she saw the God Treasure King being pushed by someone in his wheelchair. Not only him, but the elders of the other sects also stood up. Shun Hong frowned and said softly, "What advice does Bao Wang have?" "I dare not advise you." The God Treasure King snorted, "But I hope Elder Shin knows where this place is. Now is the time for the meeting of heroes. You're disrupting the competition." He had already violated the rules of the Grand Assembly. "According to the rules, I will disqualify you from participating in the meeting of heroes this time." "What?" The anger in Shun Hong's eyes did not diminish, and she said coldly, "Just for a 7th-stage Spirit Intermediate Disciple, and you want to ban my Immortal Sword Sect's competition rights. Elder Shin Hong, if you continue to disregard the rules and disrupt the rules, even if I don't disqualify you, the powerful figures of the various sects and clans will not let this matter rest. I hope you can exercise self-discipline. If not, don't blame our Congregate of Treasures sect." The God Treasure King said. Hearing that, Shun Hong looked up and saw that all the sects and clans' faces were gloomy. It was obvious that her actions were indeed extreme. Seeing that, Shun Hong did not speak anymore, snorted, turned around, and brought Bai Yin Shan back to the Immortal Sword sect's array. As for an explanation, how could she give it? "You trash." Entering the array, Shun Hong placed Bai Yin Shan down and scolded. Bai Yin Shan did not say anything, and a few female disciples brought her into the array to heal. "You're an 8th-stage Spirit Core disciple expert. Even if you exhausted half of your energy after fighting with Qing Air, so what? The opponent is only a 7th-stage Spirit Intermediate Disciple, and the two of you have a difference of an entire realm of cultivation. You were actually beaten up so badly by him? Did I teach you for nothing?" Shin Hong was furious, and her voice became louder and louder. The surrounding disciples did not dare to breathe, and Bai Yin Shan's face was calm, and she did not say anything. The God Treasure King arranged for people to set up the array, and after the people from the surrounding sects settled down, he arranged for people to go up and continue the competition. As for the Su family, from start to finish, they did not say anything. The great clan elder of the Su family treated Su Yun as if he was not a part of the Su family. He did not ask, did not care. If not for the Su family disciples standing up for Su Yun, everyone would have thought that Su Yun had nothing to do with this group of people. Great clan elder, Su Yun. Su Tai was filled with worry as he looked over. "What's wrong with you?" The great clan elder looked at him suspiciously. "What's wrong with what? Su Yun is just an outer sect disciple. Why are you worried about him? After all, his surname is Su." Haha, Su Tai laughed dryly. The great clan elder retracted his gaze and said indifferently, "Go over and take a look. If you continue to be indifferent, the other sects will say that I'm cold-blooded, but you should understand what I mean, right? Also, let Bai Shan He Shui prepare and continue the competition." "Yes." Su Tai quickly cupped his fists and said, and then hurriedly walked over to Su Yun's side. The storm had ended, and Shin Hong had also calmed down. The competition still had to continue, and they could not stop the triennial competition just because of a weak disciple like Su Yun. The people of Blossom Heart Valley were mostly treating Su Yun's injuries, and as the person that the Pill King valued the most, Gue Mo Ju did not dare to neglect him. Just that, Gue Mo Ju checked one round, but realized that Su Yun's body was not injured in the slightest. "Master, what's wrong with him?" Long Xianli opened her cherry lips, her face full of worry. Gue Mo Ju shook his head, and his face darkened. "I don't know why. Although his body is not injured, he is not moving at all. I don't know what's going on. Let's do it this way. First, bring him to Blossom Heart Valley's big array. Our Blossom Heart Valley's medical array is different from the other sects, and see if we can detect any symptoms. Since it's like that, then I'll have to trouble Master. Long Xianli stood up, her eyes flashing with a complicated light. She sighed lightly, took out a few Celadon bottles from her storage ring, and gave them to Gui Mo Ju. Master, these are some good medicines for my immortal sword sect. It should be of help to him. Take it and feed it to him. These are. Gui Mo Ju was suspicious and opened it to take a look, and his face immediately changed. 3-link pill, jade pill, Rendu pill, Clan Elder Long. These are all priceless pills. You're just going to give them to him like that? Long Xianli looked at Su Yun quietly, her mind thinking about all the things that happened with Su Yun in the broken house, especially that day when she was careless and was piqued by the thief. Immediately, her cheeks flushed red, and she said softly, "This person was injured by my sex people. Why can't I give him some pills to save him? Master, I hope you can cure him. The competition is about to start. Xianli will not stay here. I'll go first." With that, Long Xianli immediately turned and walked towards the Immortal Sword sect. Gui Mo Ju was stunned. He was confused. Qing Er, who was hugging Su Yun by the side, had a complicated look in her eyes. The outside world had returned to normal. This was just a small episode. Although to some people, it was like the end of the world, but that was only for some people. To the various sects, it did not affect them. The meeting of the Golden Age continued. No one cared about the person who was killed by Shen Hong. No one cared about the person who came from the outer sect of the Su family. Qing Er was still silently crying, but she did not know that Su Yun was not injured at all. Inside and out, he was not injured at all. But Su Yun, his heart was as cold as stone. He was in extreme pain. He was not injured, but the Sword Elder was seriously injured. Shen Hong's cultivation was profound, comparable to Long Xianli's. She was even stronger than Long Xianli. She was furious and did not care about the consequences. The Sword Elder was just a spirit body. How could he contend against her? Suddenly, Su Yun, who was lying on the ground, twitched and crawled up. "Master Su Yun, are you all right?" Gui Mo Ju was overjoyed and asked anxiously. "Young master." Qing Er was crying tears of joy. Her sad heart finally cleared up. But Su Yun did not say a word. He suddenly took a step forward and ran towards the entrance of the mountain. "Young master." Qing Er immediately chased after him. And at the other side of the Immortal Sword sect, a pair of snow-white eyes were looking over. "Is that bad person all right?" Long Xianli whispered. "But why did he run? Where'd he go?" Her heart was unsettled. Thinking again and again, her figure moved and quietly left the place. On the mountain road of Wushuangju Peak, Su Yun sprinted for a distance and suddenly took out a piece of parchment from his chest. He carefully spread the parchment on the ground. Senior, are you all right, Senior?" His pupils were round, his lips were pale, and he asked while trembling. Brat, didn't I tell you I'm all right? This old man. My life is tough. Cough, cough. Cough, cough, cough." The Sword Elder's extremely weak voice came out from the Limitless Sword Manual. He did not say much, but his voice suddenly trembled and became weaker. "Senior." Su Yun clenched the sword manual tightly. His 5 fingers seemed to want to break the sword manual. The resentment in his heart surged. "Brat, you are very good. You are the most talented and most scheming person I have ever seen, but your only flaw, cough, cough, is that your time is too short. This is your disadvantage, Shen Hong. Her talent is not as good as yours. Her scheming is not as good as yours. Even her forbearance is not as good as yours, but she can still suppress you. Why? Because her cultivation time is longer than yours. She is longer than you. Cough, cough, cough." The more the Sword Elder spoke, the more his voice trembled, as if it would dissipate at any time. The attack just now was completely blocked by the Sword Elder. Su Yun did not receive the slightest bit of injury. "Longer time than me?" Su Yun's heart became even colder, his pupils suddenly became bloodshot, and his hands clenched even tighter. "Brat, I might not be able to hold on any longer before I leave. Can you promise me one thing? The Sword Elder's voice was trembling so much that it was almost inaudible. The chi of his limitless sword manual was becoming weaker and weaker. Senior, just tell me, no matter how many things it is. Su Yun will do his best to do it. Su Yun clenched his teeth, endured the tears in his eyes, and said, Accept the limitless sword sect leader. From now on, you will be the sect leader of the limitless sword sect. I only beg you to bring the limitless sword sect to glory. No, Senior, the limitless sword sect must be brought to glory by you. I refuse. The position of sect leader, only you can take it. Su Yun stared at the limitless sword manual and growled. Silly brat. The Sword Elder laughed. I'm already like this. How can I still bring glory to the limitless sword sect? This position can only be taken by you. You have the everlasting stone, cultivating the limitless sword manual. No one can compare to you. Then, Senior, what about you? Me? The Sword Elder laughed bleakly. I have been sitting in this position for too long, silent for 1,000 years, hidden in the sword manual for thousands of years. Perhaps he had already endured enough. The loneliness in this, who could understand? The chi of the sword manual was getting weaker and weaker. The chi that was being emitted was getting thinner and thinner. Su Yun anxiously grabbed the sword manual in his hands, as if he wanted to feel a little more chi, but it was to no avail. Brat, the Sword Elder's soft voice came out. Senior. Su Yun seemed to be grasping at straws and anxiously shouted, I'm ultimately just a spirit body. After I die, I will turn into a sword stone. Do you still remember the sacred sky mountain that I mentioned to you before? If you are able to find the sacred sky mountain, find the location of the limitless sword sect, find my sword source life, you can place the sword stone that I have turned into on the body of the sword, like that. I can turn into an innate sword body. If you have the heart, maybe we can meet again. Of course, I won't force anything. The voice gradually became weaker and gradually disappeared. Su Yun stared at the sword manual in a daze. After a long while, he regained his senses. Sacred Sky Mountain. Sword Source Life. Sword Stone Kacha. Just then, a white stone suddenly fell from the limitless sword manual. Su Yun anxiously picked up the stone. This was most likely the Sword Elder's sword stone. He carefully placed the stone into his storage ring, but his scarlet eyes could not regain its calmness. Chapter 153. Maybe sometimes he should give it his all. Maybe sometimes he should not have any misgivings. Since he had decided to do it, why should he hesitate? Since he had made up his mind, why should he have any misgivings? Su Yun stood up, the blood-red color in his eyes becoming denser. He turned and saw Qing Er standing quietly behind him. She held back her tears and looked at him quietly and peacefully. She did not disturb him. She just quietly protected him and hoped for him. She had always been like that. Regardless of whether it was the Su Yun in the past or the Su Yun now, her feelings for him had never changed. Qing Er, Su Yun shouted hoarsely. Young master, are you all right? She said softly. She did not ask anything. She only cared if he was safe. I'm fine. Su Yun revealed a pale smile. Qing Er, listen to me. You go back to the Su family first. I'll be there soon. Will you really come back safely? Qing Er wanted to reject him, but seeing the determination in Su Yun's eyes, she gave up and muttered softly. I promise, he said softly. Qing Er bit her lips lightly. Her delicate little face nodded obediently. She took a deep breath, turned around, and walked towards the peak of the mountain. The petite and frail figure walked further and further away. Su Yun's heart was also getting further and further away. She was the last line for him to maintain his rationality. All of this, wasn't it to protect? But now, Su Yun realized that the person he was protecting was not just Qing Er alone. Maybe he had neglected a lot of people who cared about him. He fiercely spat out a mouthful of turbid qi. A gust of wind rose beside him and blew his robe. He looked at the tattered white robe on his body. He tore it off and changed into the pitch-black Blade Master cloak that was placed in his storage ring. The pitch-black death sword that was always lying in his storage ring. Finally, there was the broken mask. He took it out. Looking at the mask that was still stained with blood, his mind tensed up. The mask was gently placed on his face. It reflected his blood-red eyes. His hair was messy. His face was pale white. A gloomy and cold wind blew by, while strands of pitch-black aura soared into the sky, and it dyed the bright sky dark. Why endure? Kill! Kill! Turn the world upside down. In the darkness, a pair of bright eyes quietly looked over. Boom! A gray figure flew out from the battle array. The expert from Long Ao Nation stood there proudly, using an extremely disdainful look at the Sioux family elite disciple Blackwater, who was on the verge of fainting, snorted. I think it's better to send a stronger opponent. The Sioux family, this kind of trash. Don't even bother going up. It's a waste of time. Damn it. The Sioux family's disciples all gnashed their teeth. Other than Su Yun and Qing, from before, the Sioux family side were all defeated and did not win at all. It was truly disappointing. But now, Qing had fought 10 battles consecutively, and her body was exhausted. Su Yun was interfered with by Shan Hong and was unable to participate in the battle, just relying on by Shan and He Shui. How could they contend against Long Ao Nation and Swallowing Heaven sect? Su Tai and Su Shilong stood behind the great clan elder, but their eyes were filled with panic. If Su Yin died, how would they get rid of the poison in their bodies? Su Shilong secretly glanced at the great elder who was sitting upright on the chair and asked in a low voice, "Second elder, what should we do now?" "What can I do?" Su Tai sighed. "I only hope that rascal Su Yun is all right. If not, we're finished. This competition is also messed up by the great clan elder. Qing is our last trump card, and he used it like that. Seems like our Su family will not be able to get a good ranking. Are you an idiot? At a time like this, who cared about rankings or not? Protecting our lives is more important." Su Shilong heard that and did not speak anymore. Bang! Another person was sent flying. In just a short while, Long Ao Nation had already defeated a total of 6 experts from the other sects. Laughing proudly in the battle array, no one could fight him. All the sects were unwilling and ordered their own disciples to go up and fight, but they felt that the number of people who could fight against him were few and far between. On the side of the Immortal Sword sect, "Julie, you go up." Seeing Long Ao Nation's craziness, Shen Hong felt a fire burning in her chest and immediately bellowed. "Julie, this," Bai Yin Shan glanced over, looked at the senior brother called Julie, and shook her head helplessly. "Master, although senior brother Julie is a 7th-stage spirit core disciple, to fight against this person, it is a difficult matter. Yin Shan thinks, in the entire Immortal Sword sect, I'm afraid no one can win against him. After all, their Long Ao Nation's profound spirit Qi can counter the Swiftwind spirit Qi. It is not easy for us to deal with him." "What do you mean?" Shen Hong's face was twisted, and she said coldly, "How can we boost the morale of others and destroy our own prestige? To be able to win against an opponent is not to see your own cultivation, but to see if you have the courage to fight. Who says that a person with a lower cultivation cannot fight against a person with a higher cultivation? Look at that Su Yin. Didn't he almost chop off your arm?" Hearing that, Bai Yin Shan's face changed. She turned her head and did not say anything, but the anger in her eyes was extremely intense. This was not anger towards Shen Hong, but anger towards Su Yun. That pair of eyes, that expression, that sword sheath, that strange sword technique. She suddenly thought of something and took a deep breath. "Master, disciple actually has a guess in my heart, but I have not said it out." "Guess? What guess?" "Is that Su Yun?" Bai Yin Shan thought for a while and said softly, "Maybe his identity is not as simple as Su family outer sect, disciple Su Yun, disciple thinks he could be." Bang! Just at that moment, a black lightning suddenly flashed across the sky. Following that, a clap of thunder swept across the sky, exploding out. It was like a thunderbolt in a clear sky, causing the people of Wushuang Ju Peak to look up in astonishment. Everything was fine. Why would there be thunder? Was it going to rain? It is just a clap of thunder. Long Ao Tion's expression was tyrannical. He stood up from his throne and looked at the crowd with disdain. "Is there anyone else who dares to enter the array to challenge? If no one dares to challenge, then the champion of this Wushuang gathering can only be taken away by my Long Ao nation. With that said, the participant from Long Ao nation who was standing in the array crossed his arms, exposing a confident smile, his eyes looking provocatively at all the disciples of the sections. The people from Long Ao nation are truly savage. This time we can even defeat the Swallowing Heavens sect. Why should we fear the Long Ao nation? Shun Hong could not take it anymore. Her gaze swept left and right, and finally landed on Bai Yin Shan. Yin Shan, are you willing to fight? Bai Yin Shan's eyes were brimming with fighting intent. She moved her arm, although it was not very flexible, and the wound had not completely healed, but the strong fighting intent in her heart made her somewhat reckless. Let me try. Bai Yin Shan stood up. Junior sister, don't be reckless. One of the Immortal Sword sect disciples anxiously stood up, cupped his fists, and said, Clan Elder, Junior sister's injury has not fully healed, although the Long Ao nation's chi has been used up a lot. But Junior sister might not be able to win against him. If the fight worsens her injury, it will definitely affect her cultivation. It will not be worth it. That's right, Clan Elder. Please reconsider. Everyone exclaimed. Hearing that, Shun Hong was enraged. All of you are too timid to fight, but you don't want Yin Shan to fight, and you all still have the face to say such words? With that said, everyone lowered their heads in shame. Bang! Just then, the sky was filled with thunder again. A large amount of dark clouds gathered. The thick and heavy dark clouds were like floating mountains, pressing down on everyone's heads. They kept on surging, continuously congealing. At first it was slightly gray, but as time went on, it became pitch black, as though there was something sinister and evil in the clouds. Something was wrong. Almost all the experts on the peak of the mountain all stood up in shock. Thunder? How could there be such thunder? Use the treasure scouting instrument to take a look. The god Treasure King's face congealed and said to the people beside him, Yes, sect leader. The disciples of the Congregate of Treasures sect quickly took out a purple gourd-shaped treasure. The treasure was about 1 m tall. The two of them carried it over, sat cross-legged, both hands pressing on the gourd, instigating profound spirit chi. The gourd blossomed with purple light, the mouth shooting out a light beam straight into the clouds. But inside the pitch-black clouds suddenly shot out a gigantic black blade that was more than 30 m long, like a big blade chopping down from the sky. It cut the light beam and directly smashed onto the gourd. Bang! The gourd exploded, and the two disciples of the Congregate of Treasures sect were instantly blown away. The god Treasure King slapped his wheelchair, and together with the chair flew up, floating in the air. He gazed at the pitch-black sky and shouted loudly, Which expert has descended to the unique gathering? Please reveal your true self. With that said, for a long time, there was no reply from the other party. Suddenly, the pitch-black cloud squirmed, like a whirlwind, protruding down from the sky. The sharp point was like a gigantic sword, directly piercing towards the Immortal Sword sect. Shen Hong and the rest's face changed. The sword was tyrannical and ferocious, descending from the sky. This attack wanted to destroy the entire Wushuang Ju Peak. Great Clan Elder! Just then, a loud shout came out, only to see Long Xianli stepping on her flying sword and rushing over. Shen Hong turned to look, only to hear Long Xianli clenching her teeth and shouting, Quickly go! Go? Shen Hong was stunned. Suddenly, a heavy and imposing voice resonated in the sky. Clan Elder Shun, since no one dares to fight for the Immortal Sword sect, then let me do it. With that said, the black clouds dispersed, and a gigantic dragon head-shaped sword flew straight towards them. The sword was heavy and gigantic, shaped like a dragon's head. It was close to 1,000 meters long. The surface was covered with sinister blood-red vein patterns. The aura was terrifying. And at the tip of the sword stood a man dressed in a pitch-black Blade Master outfit, his face covered with half of his face. Impossible! This is an absolute low-level mystical technique. Cleaving the heavens, beheading the dragon. This is the ultimate technique of the Void Sword Saint 500 years ago. Shirtion Daoran stood up, his eyes wide open in shock. Cleaving the heavens, beheading the dragon? Void Sword Saint. That kind of almighty being is not someone we can contend against. Who is this person? Could be the Void Sword Saint. No, that is the Sword Lord. Limitless Sword Lord. Someone exclaimed, and it resonated out. Sword Lord? The people of Purple Star Academy, who had been keeping a low profile, all turned to look. Especially Madame Purple Star, she excitedly stepped forward and looked up. At that time, if not for Limitless Sword Lord's timely action and killing the Blood Soul, Purple Star Academy would have been completely eradicated by the Blood Demon Heaven Tao, and the group of elite students would have died. Never in their wildest dreams did they expect that Limitless Sword Lord would actually appear at the gathering. The entire Wu Shuangju Peak was in a mess. Shenhong's eyes were wide open, looking at the gigantic dragon-like sword, her face extremely ugly. The berserk sword descended from the sky. The ground where the sword tip touched immediately cracked, as though someone was crushing an egg. The surrounding Immortal Sword sect disciples all felt that their bodies were being crushed. The pain was unbearable. They all retreated. Who dared to care about Shenhong? And at that moment, Shenhong had nowhere to retreat. Looking at the gigantic black sword, she did not hesitate anymore. With a sinister face, the swift wind spirit chi in her entire body was released. Accumulating all her power, she fiercely struck towards the sword tip. 99 high mystical sword chi. A loud roar exploded out. A blue light flashed. A burst of vigorous sword chi that could tear the heavens and split the earth was released from Shenhong's hand. A sword was held tightly, the sword chi surrounding the sword tip clashing against the black sword. Dong! One big and one small sword tip clashed against each other. In that moment, Shenhong felt that every single hair on her body was being squeezed by the gigantic black sword. She felt as though she was about to become minced meat. The thick and powerful force was unbearable. So, from the side came a rainbow, killing towards a masked man who was standing on top of the black sword. The man moved to the side, dodging the man's killing move. Looking coldly, it was the third clan elder of the Immortal Sword sect, Long Xianli. Long Xianli stood on her flying sword, her slender fingers forming sword arts, her entire body surging with sword chi, her beautiful face congealed, her eyes staring straight at the man. "Stop," she said in a low voice. Her tone was cold, but it revealed a trace of unspeakable complexity. The masked man looked at her, then turned his head, not saying a word. The gigantic sword was still attacking Shenhong, as though it wanted to completely smash her body into pieces. This cleaving the heavens dragon sword beheading already had an unimaginable power. Shenhong was able to block it, but she definitely did not have the strength to block Limitless. "Stop!" Long Xianli once again rushed in front of Limitless. Raising her sword horizontally, the sword tip pointed straight at his chest. Her teeth clenched as she coldly shouted, "No!" Limitless shook his head, his mouth revealing a gloomy look. "She wants to pay with her life." With that, the masked man suddenly extended his hand and pulled out the pitch-black sinister sword from his back. Clipchamp. When the sword was pulled out, in that moment, a stream of energy flew out from the sword sheath on his back, soaring into the sky. The sound of the sword being unsheathed was incessant. In a moment, the sky was filled with a myriad of colors, multicolored, filled with sword chi. Shenhong, who was bitterly supporting the dragon sword beheading, opened her eyes wide, shocked at the magnificent scene. SSSSS. 100 Swords in the Sky. Chapter 154. In terms of the Imperial Sword technique in the entire southern continent, the Immortal Sword sect was the best. The Imperial Sword technique of the Immortal Sword sect was not as simple as flying on a sword. After mastering it, in the midst of battle, one could temporarily not hold the sword in one's hands and could casually brandish it. But it was only at this level. If one wanted to completely break free from the control of both hands and purely use profound spirit chi to control it, it would be extremely difficult. The Imperial Sword technique of the Immortal Sword sect was about using the limbs to bridge the profound spirit chi to control the sword, and not using chi to control the sword. Regardless of whether it was flying on the sword or attacking with the sword, it was the same. But today, they understood and saw that there was an even more exquisite and terrifying imperial sword technique in this continent, purely using chi to control the sword. And today, the opponent was not using only one sword. It was 100 swords. At this moment, not only Shen Hong, even Long Xianli was stunned. Close to 100 immortal sword sect disciples were petrified. All the experts from all the sects were stunned. 100 swords soared into the sky, dancing in the sky. What could be more spectacular than this? More memorable? Limitless pulled out his sword, holding onto the demonic death sword. He transformed into a rainbow and rushed toward Shen Hong. In that moment, the 100 flying sword in the sky seemed to be attracted by something. The sword tip trembled, and all rushed toward Shen Hong. 100 swords flew together. The sound of the swords resonated in the sky. The colorful ancient sword, the stone heart sword that was as heavy as a mountain, the boundless sword intent of the inexhaustible sword, the majestic heavenly drinker sword, quiet as a virgin, sword spirit leaf, the formless and formless rising sword, the arrogant and tyrannical emperor absolute sword, the ethereal and nimble misty sword. The sword shuttle flew over. The sword chi traversed across the ground, following the pitch-black figure. With an unstoppable force, it flew over. Long Xianli's bright eyes widened. Looking at this majestic scene, she found it hard to move her body. All the hairs on Shen Hong's body stood. She clenched her teeth. Her face contorted. She bellowed, blocking the cleaving the heavens dragon sword. The gigantic sword tip was pushed away, flying a few hundred meters before disappearing in the air. But Shen Hong was like an arrow at the end of its flight, her chi weak. But to say that she was powerless to resist, that would be a disgrace to the great clan elder of the immortal sword sect. Forbidden blood sword flower. Shen Hong released her treasure. A metal flower flew out from her hand and danced in front of her. As the sword flower danced, it slowly blossomed. The center of the flower released a thick and strong wall of chi, quickly forming in front of Shen Hong, transforming into a defensive shield. Dong, 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 dong. The 100 swords were like a machine gun sweeping through the air, crazily stabbing into the chi wall. The wall of chi trembled violently, like a small boat in a storm. Shen Hong's face was pale. She clenched her teeth and held on. Long Xianli's eyes widened and anxiously shouted, "Where are the immortal sword sect's disciples?" With that, she rushed towards Limitless Sword God. Long Xianli called out. The disciples of the immortal sword sect were no longer afraid. They all rushed forward and rushed towards Limitless Sword God. But Limitless speed was as fast as black lightning. When 100 swords struck the wall of chi, he had already landed in front of the wall of chi. The death sword was raised high and slashed down. Voila! The death sword that was able to absorb life force and convert it into profound spirit chi broke through the chi wall like a paper window. Shen Hong's face changed. She retreated a few steps. With a wave of her hand, a silver blue water sword appeared in her hand. She danced crazily, the sword chi wreaking havoc. But seeing the sword images revolving around her body, the 100 swords that broke through the wall of chi surrounded Shen Hong and continued to attack. Hacking, stabbing, chopping, colliding, Shen Hong blocked half of it, but she was unable to completely stop it. Clang, clang, clang sounds rang out nonstop. Shen Hong's sword dancing speed was extremely fast. Adding the chi dancing, the speed of the water sword's rotation was hard to catch with the naked eye. The swift wind spirit chi was extremely dense. Just that, revolving around her body, there were more than 100 of them. No matter how high Shen Hong's cultivation level was, facing such a concentrated attack of the mystical swords, it was not enough. Furthermore, the current limitless cultivation level was extremely dense, completely comparable to Shen Hong. With the support of the heavenly crystal, combined with the sprite's Shadow 72 absolute mystical techniques, why would Limitless be afraid of Shen Hong? Just when Shen Hong could not hold on any longer, the disciples of the immortal sword sect rushed over under the lead of Long Xianli, killing towards Limitless sword chi. Limitless stepped lightly, his body like a goose feather, floating backwards. The sword in his hand swung with all his might. Voila! A slender crescent-shaped sword chi burst out. Dong! The sword chi swept across. Everyone tried to defend, but were all sent flying by the sword. So powerful. Long Xian Li's beautiful face congealed. Her elegant figure flashed. A bright and shiny sword flashed out millions of sword images, surrounding Su Yun. Dang! The death sword blocked the white sword. With a powerful swing, the sword and the person were blown away. Following that, his figure exploded and continued to rush towards Shen Hong. In his eyes, everyone else was useless. He only wanted Shen Hong to die. Why did he only kill Shen Hong? What grievances does he have with Clan Elder Shun? Everyone was suspicious. Everyone, don't hesitate. Quickly make your move and support Clan Elder Shun. If this goes on, Clan Elder Shun will definitely die. Someone shouted, "Yes, let us quickly help the Immortal Sword Sect." But that is the Sword Lord. If we help the Immortal Sword Sect, won't we offend the Sword Lord? Whoever dares to touch the Sword Lord will be going against my Purple Star Academy. The Sword Lord saved my Mu family's young master Mu Feng. Whoever dares to touch the limitless Sword Lord, my Mu family will treat them as enemies. The representatives of Purple Star and Mu family all stood up and shouted. Many of the people who wanted to use this opportunity to express their goodwill to the Immortal Sword Sect heard and immediately stopped. But this was only a small portion of the people. Not everyone was willing to give in to Purple Star and the Mu family. Walala's sounds resonated, and a large number of figures flew out from the crowd, straight towards Limitless Sword Lord. Limitless Evil Dao, don't you dare hurt Clan Elder Shun. Eat my blade! The roar exploded, and 10 figures rushed out from all directions and joined the battle. Cultivators from Smoky Wind Valley, Colored Rock Sect, Relentless Heart Pavilion, thank you. Long Xian Li was elated and shouted, "Clan Elder Long, don't be in a rush to thank me. Wait till we kill this person first." Smoky Wind Valley's representative, Lord Zisu, shouted. An array of purple light shot towards Limitless Sword Lord. Seeing that, Long Xian Li's face changed and anxiously said, "Everyone, don't hurt him. We just need to drive him away." With that said, everyone's head was filled with fog. Lord Zisu looked at Long Xian Li in shock. "Clan Elder Long, what are you saying? Chase him away? Don't tell me you want to let him go." Hearing that, Su Yun was also stunned. Long Xian Li then realized that she was speaking nonsense. She bit her lips, her expression panicking, and said, "Anyway, everyone just do as I say." With that, she flew towards Shen Hong with her sword. Su Yun was surrounded by everyone, and it was hard for him to escape, so he could only control the 100 swords to kill Shen Hong. He took a deep breath, moved his finger, and the black ring on his finger started to flicker with a black light. Suddenly, 4 illusory tiger heads appeared around him, opened their mouths, and roared in all directions. Roar! Everyone around fainted and felt the profound spirit chi congealed in their bodies being dispersed, and the pain was unbearable. Tiger King, 4 directions roar. Middle level, profound, rank, mystical technique. This is a technique from the northern region. How can he use it? The God Treasure King stared at Limitless Sword Lord and muttered in shock. "Sect leader, what do we do now? It seems like the gathering cannot continue." Looking at the chaotic scene, a disciple asked. The God Treasure King looked around and realized that the people from the surrounding sects saw the chaos, but did not have any intention of retreating. Instead, they were all looking over, and his heart turned cold. He anxiously raised his head to look and saw that the 2 treasures that he sealed in the air were still floating. The gathering cannot continue. It will be decided in the future. All of you quickly activate the dragon boat and cover me to retrieve the treasures. The God Treasure King shouted anxiously and then moved both of his hands, instigating his power, wanting to remove the seal and retrieve the 2 treasures that were the competition prizes. But just then, a tyrannical chi rushed over. "Ha ha ha, God Treasure King. My Long Ao nation has no one to challenge us. It is reasonable to say that the champion of this unparalleled gathering is my Long Ao nation, and these 2 treasures should belong to my Long Ao nation. Isn't that right? Quickly give me the prizes." An arrogant laugh came out, and the Long Ao Nation people all rushed over. Long Ao Tian, who was the leader, revealed his tyrannical aura. Roaring, a gold light blossomed and directly grabbed the revolving star passage and monarch occult force that were sealed in the air. Lord Long Ao Tian, don't be reckless. The competition is not over yet. The quota has not been decided yet. You cannot break the rules. The God Treasure King shouted. But why would Long Ao Tian care so much? He immediately rushed over, one hand reaching out, grabbing the treasures. Dang! The enchantment around the treasures that had not been removed blocked his palm, causing ripples. But Long Ao Tian was not willing to let go, releasing his chi, releasing his strength to the maximum. He was obviously trying to snatch the treasures. Good, good, good. The people of Long Ao Nation are truly powerful. To be able to openly snatch treasures, I have finally seen it for myself today. But if you want to take these two treasures, you have to ask if my exuding fire sect agrees. The 3 items deity palace is here. Long Ao Tian, don't be arrogant. Quickly stop. Disciples of Stellar Sun Mountain, follow me and charge. Why would the other sects sit there and do nothing? With Long Ao Tian leading the way, they all took action to snatch the treasures. Maybe the revolving star passage was not that tempting, but the monarch occult force was definitely a priceless treasure, and everyone was drooling. Sigh. The human heart is really hard to understand. They speak righteously, but who doesn't do it for their own benefits? All these so-called righteous sects are just a bunch of hypocrites. Guamo Ju looked at the chaotic Wu Shuang Ju peak, shook his head, and led the disciples away. At the side, the profound sky sect and swallowing heaven sect sat quietly. Many of the disciples could not take it anymore, but Tian Nu and Shirtian Daoran were watching quietly, as though they did not intend to join in the chaos. Long Ao Tian initiated the battle to snatch the treasures, and the Immortal Sword sect did not have it easy either. After the Tiger King 4-directional roar was activated, Limitless immediately rushed out of the crowd. His footsteps were swift and fierce. Like the wind, he passed through the Immortal Sword sect disciples, his death sword piercing forward. Long Xianli, who had been guarding beside, Shun Hong immediately used her sword to block. No matter what, do not let him near Elder Shun. Stop him, Long Xianli shouted, her expression extremely serious. But just at this time, the man suddenly let go of the death sword, letting the pitch-black sword drop to the ground. Did he give up? Seeing that, Long Xianli was stunned. Suddenly her heart jumped. Not good. She turned and shouted. Su Yun retreated a few steps, both his hands forming a seal, his index finger and middle finger together, shooting out a ray of profound spirit chi. Kung Chong. The 100 swords surrounding Shun Hong suddenly split apart, each of them forming one real and one fake sword. The sword surrounding Shun Hong immediately became 200 swords. Shun Hong did not even have time to react, and the fake sword pierced forward. Poochie, poochie, poochie. The fake sword pierced through her sword chi, protecting her body, and pierced through her body. Shun Hong was struck by the sword, her body froze, and the water sword that was blocking the 100 swords also stopped. In the next second, the 100 swords attacked, and Shun Hong's body was immediately pierced with swords. Elder Shun, Long Xianli was stunned. Poochie, poochie, poochie. The 100 swords left her body and flew back. Shun Hong's body spewed out a large amount of blood. Her chi meridians were almost cut into pieces. All her vital points were split apart, and there were no signs of life. The silver-blue water sword in her hands gradually dimmed, and with a clang, it fell to the ground. Chapter 155. We can't hesitate any longer. The great clan elder stood up from his chair and bellowed. Everyone follow me. Find an opportunity and snatch the monarch occult force. Great clan elder, out of all the sects, our Su family is the weakest. Now that everyone is fighting, Su Tai thinks that the most suitable strategy is to sit back and enjoy the fruits of others' labor. When they are fighting to the death, we will then make our move. That way, we will have the highest hope of getting the treasure. Su Tai hurriedly said. It was not that he did not want the monarch occult force, but his strength was too weak. If the great clan elder really went up in the chaos, his life would be in danger. Therefore, he was naturally opposed to such a risky matter. If you are afraid of the slightest thing, how can you accomplish great things? Now that it is so chaotic, we have to catch them off guard and take the opportunity to take the monarch occult force. With the monarch occult force, our Su family will definitely become stronger. When Su Tai heard this, his face turned bitter. Suddenly, he seemed to have seen something and hurriedly tugged on the great elder's robe. Then, he secretly signaled to the other side with his eyes. The great clan elder frowned and looked towards the direction that Su Tai was pointing at, only to see the person in charge of the profound sky sect, Tian One, staring coldly at them. The great elder was slightly startled and his eyes flickered. He thought about it for a moment, then did not make a sound, nor did he move. "Watch out!" Right at this moment, a cry of alarm sounded out. Murderous intent surged over. The great elder was startled. Looking up, he saw hundreds of flying swords stained with blood flying towards him. "Daddy, be careful! Get out of the way!" Su Dongfang shouted. When the first elder heard this, he hurriedly dodged. Dang! 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 Clang! A large number of flying swords pierced into the place where the great elder had been standing. The bodies of the swords trembled violently, ringing out in all directions. Great elder's mind trembled. He recognized this sword, and he also knew whose blood this sword belonged to. Raising his head to look, he saw the man with the broken mask and blade master cloth, shaking off the disciples of the immortal sword sect and walking over step by step. Those eyes, the sinister smile at the corner of his mouth. The grand elder was in a daze, feeling as if he had seen it before. Its venerable sword master. Is he going to kill the great elder? The disciples of the Su clan panicked. Limitless Sword Lord, who had just killed Shin Hong, actually pointed his sword towards the great clan elder of the Su clan. What was he trying to do? "Sword master, I have no enmity with you. Why do you want to kill me?" The great elder stepped back and shouted with a pale face. What kind of existence was Shin Hong? Even she died tragically in the hands of the Sword Lord. How could he stop this person? "Why should I kill you?" Su Yin walked over, his blood-red eyes reflecting a dense fanaticism. "You want me dead? Why didn't I kill you? I want you to die." Great elder stared blankly, feeling as if his brain couldn't process what was happening. However, in the blink of an eye, he suddenly thought of something. His eyes went wide, the astonishment in his eyes almost impossible to describe. In that instant, he realized who this person was. You are Su Yin? You are Su Yin?" Clang! The swords that were pierced into the ground started to tremble again. They were all pulled out from the ground and spiraled in the air. Then, they spread out like a gigantic net, enveloping the great clan elder. The great elder moved his finger, and an emerald ring on his finger flickered with a circle of light. This light was like the wind, blowing away the 100 swords that were coming at him. The 100 swords bypassed his body and stabbed behind him. "I never thought that you would hide so deeply." The great clan elder recovered from his shock. He took a deep breath and shouted, "But don't look down on me. So what if you're a limitless sword lord? Kill me? Dream on." With that said, the great clan elder immediately turned and took out a green leaf-shaped treasure. The treasure missed and quickly became the size of a small boat. The great clan elder immediately jumped on it and wanted to escape. Su Yin thought that he would fight to the death with him. He never thought that the great clan elder would be so decisive. "You think you can escape?" Su Yin's eyes lit up. The gigantic rock spirit nucleus immediately activated and shot out a gray light. Kacha! With the support of the heavenly crystal, his cultivation was extremely dense. The light that he shot out quickly petrified the great clan elder. Even the great clan elder and the treasure leaf turned into stone and fell from the sky. Quang dang. After landing, the stone shattered. The great clan elder fell to the ground in a sorry state. He wanted to get up, but his hands and feet were pierced by the flying swords. The great clan elder let out a painful scream. Fresh blood flowed all over the ground. His beard that reached his waist swayed. None of the Sioux family members dared to go up. They were all fearful and stood rooted to the ground. Facing the Sword Lord, how could they have the courage to fight? Miss Ching Air. Ching Air, hurry. Hurry up and save my father. Hurry up and save my father. Su Dongfang's body trembled. He ran to Ching Air's side and shouted. Ching Air looked at him indifferently and said, Young Master Dongfang, that's your father, not mine. Why don't you go up and let me do it? I can't defeat him. Does young Master Dongfang think that I could defeat him? You're the seed that our Sioux family has painstakingly nurtured. You're our Sioux family's strongest genius. You can definitely defeat him. You definitely can. Su Dongfang's eyes were filled with despair. Let's not talk about me not being able to. Even if I could, I have no strength right now. Previously, the great clan elder sent me up to fight against so many people. I have already used up half of my strength. Now, I have no strength left. Please forgive me, young master. Ching Air doesn't want to die. Ching Air said softly. In the end, it was the great clan elder's fault, who asked him to change the plan and send Ching Air up first. Su Dongfang was completely in despair. He sat on the ground paralyzed. Su Yan stepped on the cracked ground. He carried the death sword and walked towards the great clan elder. The cold chi gradually enveloped the person who was nailed to the ground. Walking to the side, he looked at the person whose eyes were filled with fear. His face was extremely ugly. He squatted down and took off half of his mask. Only the great clan elder could see his face. That familiar face entered the great clan elder's eyes. His eyes almost popped out of his eye sockets. So it's you, the great clan elder shouted weakly and anxiously. Patriarch, why did you send Ching Air to the Profound Sky sect? What kind of agreement does the Sioux family have with the Profound Sky sect? Why do you have to compromise with the Profound Sky sect? Su Yan said softly, his blood-red eyes staring straight at him. You want to know? The great clan elder suddenly laughed weakly. I won't tell you. Ha. I want you to be anxious, to make you afraid. You won't know what will happen to Ching or Oh. Su Yan covered his face with a mask again, his mouth revealing a strange smile. You're not going to tell me? That's great. He stood up and looked at the great clan elder. He raised the death sword in his hand. Kill me. Even if you kill me, I won't tell you. The great elder chuckled. But in the next second, the death sword appeared and flew out. Poochie. A heart-wrenching scream came out. The great clan elder's smile froze. He anxiously turned his head, only to see a young man's arm being sliced off by the death sword. Following that, Su Yan's figure moved. In a blink of an eye, he landed beside the young man. He grabbed his neck and pulled him back. Su Dongfang, who had lost an arm, was sweating profusely. His face was twisted as Su Yan lifted him up and threw him in front of the great clan elder. Dongfang, the great clan elder shouted anxiously. He stepped on Su Dongfang's body and pointed his sword at his body. I'll only give you one chance. Tell me, or don't tell me. He bent down and said sinisterly. The great clan elder felt his heart turn cold. His back turned cold. Looking at the red eyes, he never thought that this person was the trash Su Yan who was banished to the outer sect. This person was almost a demon. I don't know much. Please let Dongfang go. He's innocent. This matter was arranged by the Patriarch and the higher-ups of the Profound Sky sect. I only know that they need Ching Air. They need her to cooperate with a plan. The great clan elder's voice trembled. Plan? Su Yan frowned. Then the so-called marriage is fake. It's just a cover. Su Yan's heart sank. If they really needed Ching Air to cooperate with a plan, then why did the Patriarch of the Profound Sky sect kill Ching Air in his previous life? Don't tell me this plan disregards Ching Air's life. It seems like they did not see Ching Air's body at that time. Or should I say, they only need Ching Air's body to cooperate? Su Yan's mind was in a mess. It seemed like he had only seen the tip of the iceberg. Forget it, as long as he brought Ching Air away. He thought for a while and asked, if Ching Air leaves the Sioux family, how will the Profound Sky sect and the Sioux family let it go? Leave the Sioux family? The great clan elder's eyes widened. As though he was provoked, he roared, No, she can't leave the Sioux family. Absolutely not. Su Yun, the Profound Sky sect, and the Su family will chase you to the ends of the earth. You can't escape. You definitely can't escape. Why won't they let Qing Air go? Su Yun grabbed the great clan elder's collar and asked. Haha, I don't know. I only know this much. Su Yun, you can kill me, but you can't contend against the Profound Sky sect. You can't. With that said, the great clan elder's laughter became louder and louder. Hua! Just at this time, a gust of wind blew over. Following that, a thick and heavy tiger seal blade slashed toward Su Yun. Su Yun's mind moved. He quickly retreated. Clang! The blade fell to the ground, releasing a large amount of spirit chi. Su Yun stabilized his body and looked over. It was the person in charge of the Profound Sky sect, Tianwen. Tianwen grabbed the great clan elder with one hand, wanting to drag him away and save him. But in the next moment, the 100 swords flew out again and revolved around Tianwen, surrounding him tightly. The Profound Sky sect had connections with the Su family. Seeing that Su Yun was interrogating the great clan elder, how could Tianwen be at ease? But looking at the current situation, Su Yun did not have much time to get more information out of the great clan elder. Without being courteous, he controlled the 100 swords and killed the great clan elder. The 100 swords pierced forward. Tianwen's strength was limited. He could protect himself, but to protect the great clan elder was extremely difficult. The sound of flesh being pierced came out. The great clan elder's body was pierced by a few sharp swords. He was on the verge of death. It was extremely difficult for him to survive. Tianwen's eyes were filled with anger. He snorted and swung his blade in the air. Countless blade chi flew towards Su Yun. Su Yun dodged and dodged. Su Dongfang, who was still struggling on the ground, could not dodge in time. His entire body swallowed the blade chi and was sliced into two. The young master of the Su family, Su Dongfang, died tragically on Wushuangju Peak. Seeing that the great clan elder was not going to survive, Tianwen's face turned gloomy. He threw the great clan elder on the ground and turned to escape. He led the Profound Sky sect people down the mountain. He did not even care about the monarch occult force. Chapter 156. With the death of the great clan elder, the Su family was like a group of dragons without a leader. The second clan elder was sly, but faced with such a situation, he could not control it. His cultivation was too low, and the turbulence around him almost scared him to death. Although Su Shilong had some ability, he could not even command the disciples of the main house. So how could he lead the troops? Currently, there was only one person who could lead the Su family troops. Qing Air. After killing the great clan elder, Su Yun kept his sword and prepared to leave. Limitless Sword God. Just then, a voice rang out. Su Yun turned to look, only to see a figure rushing over, and with a plop, he knelt in front of him. It was Su Shao. Limitless Sword God, please let me follow you. Su Shao did not say anything else, but immediately kowtowed and cried out in a low voice. Follow me. Su Yun was startled but quickly shook his head. You staying in the Su family is better than following me. I hope to gain power faster. The Su family is not suitable for me. I can't give you any power. Su Yun said softly and immediately walked away with his sword. I have always been looking for you. Su Shao raised his head. With a pale face, he shouted toward the direction Su Yun left. If not for you, I, Su Shao, would not have been able to take my revenge. If not for you, I would have died that day. I want to be like you, to kill all those who are righteous on the outside, but filthy on the inside. I want to be like you, to have supreme power. I can't give it to you. Su Yun stopped in his tracks, hesitated for a moment, and said, but if you can persevere, leave the Su family and go to the mainland to see. Maybe you can get more. Leave the Su family? Su Zhao's eyes widened, and his mind kept repeating these words. Su Yun did not immediately leave Wushuangju Peak. Although he killed his enemy, in his mind, there was still a voice. Get it. You must get it. Su Yun, if you get it, in the future, you will be unparalleled. Get it. You must get it. The sword elder roared with desire. Senior, don't worry, I will get it. I will find the limitless sword god sect. Su Yun muttered and looked up. Looking at the center of the area where countless sects were fighting, his eyes lit up with flames. The death sword waved, and the turbulent sword chi surged out. Hundreds of swords charged forward. But at this moment, a snow-white figure suddenly flashed in front of him. Without saying a word, she thrust her long, white sword straight at him. "Su Yun, you bastard!" His voice was on the verge of tears, filled with grief and indignation. Su Yun was startled. He raised his eyes to look at the beautiful lady in front of him. Her face was as charming as the moon, and her eyes were shining brightly. His heart skipped a beat, but he did not have the time to dodge. She called him Su Yun, and not Limitless Sword God? She discovered me. The pale white sword fiercely stabbed forward. When it was about to reach the man's heart, it realized that the man did not dodge. The owner of the sword panicked and hurriedly moved the sword to the side. The tip of the sword passed through the man's armpit, but did not hit him. Su Yun was even more shocked. Long Xianli bit her lips tightly. Her gem-like eyes were filled with tears as she looked at Su Yun with resentment. His eyes were filled with pain and complicated emotions. In the end, he abruptly sheathed his sword and tossed it into the air. With light steps, he leaped onto the sword's edge, released his spiritual energy, and flew away on the sword. Without any hesitation, she could not believe that the person who made her respect, who made her gasp in surprise, who made her unable to forget, was actually the person who stole the immortal sword sect's treasure time and time again. The person who killed the immortal sword sect's clan elder, Su Yun. She wanted to forget everything that she had seen and hoped that it was all an illusion. But today, she realized she could no longer lie to herself. She did not want to ask anything and did not want to hear his explanation. What she wanted to do the most was to quickly forget everything. She realized her state of mind was in a mess. Long Xianli's rainbow pierced through the horizon and left in grief and indignation. With the clan elder dead and one gone, why would the immortal sword sect disciples stay? A few of them anxiously kept Shen Hong's body, and under the elite disciples organization, they all took out their flying swords. Su Yun, Bai Yinshan was still in a daze. She vaguely heard the words that came out of clan elder Long's mouth. Her mind was in a trance, and she was in disbelief. Did I hear wrongly? Bai Yinshan thought to herself. But thinking about the pair of eyes that she saw, that expression, that sword sheath, she knew she did not hear wrongly. You actually became so strong, don't tell me. Previously, you were lying to me? Bai Yinshan's fists clenched tightly. She suddenly felt that she was so stupid, so stupid. She was actually fooled by this person. He must not have lost his innate talent. He had always been a genius. He had always been the true genius of the Su family. Otherwise, how could he suddenly have such a powerful strength? Even killing Clan Elder Shun was so easy. How could she win against him? Not only Clan Elder Shun, even Blood Soul, Taiwan Exine, they all died under his sword. All these strong martial artists could easily defeat her. At that time, I actually mocked him as trash. Bai Yinshan's smile was somewhat pale. A strange feeling of helplessness rose in her heart. After so many years of hard work, what she obtained was not the strongest. She was still being stepped on by this person. Junior Sister Bai, why are you still in a daze? Clan Elder Long has already left. Clan Elder Shun was killed by Limitless Sword God. We have to quickly leave this place, return to the sect, and report this matter to the sect leader. Let him uphold justice for Clan Elder Shun, and kill Limitless Sword God. The Immortal Sword sect disciple shouted at Bai Yinshan, who was in a daze. Bai Yinshan looked at the person who was still looking at Long Xianli's direction with a complicated expression, secretly clenched her fists, turned and brandished her flying sword, and flew away. Su Yin retracted his gaze, took a deep breath, and did not think about Long Xianli anymore. His mind was completely focused on the treasures of the Congregative Treasures sect that everyone was fighting over. Come to think of it, if not for the two treasures diverting everyone's attention, he was afraid that killing Shan Hong and the great clan elder would not have been so easy, and the other sects would have taken action. Compared to the Monarch occult force and the Big Dipper transposition, the difference between the two was huge. One was a favor that could not be exchanged for benefits. The other was a priceless treasure. Why wouldn't everyone choose? Just that. After continuously fighting with Shan Hong, killing the great clan elder, he had already exhausted half of his profound spirit chi, To snatch the two treasures, it would not be easy. It must be known, all the experts have been conserving their energy. Their conditions were extremely good. The top experts like Long Ao Tian, Lord Zisu, Shirtian Dauren. Even if they were to fight against him alone, they would still have the strength to fight. Who cares? Suyin did not want to have too many misgivings. His crazy thoughts did not allow him to hesitate too much. The 100 swords following him, he rushed forward. Long Ao Tian's fists trembled. Like a ferocious tiger, he forced the experts around him to retreat. He turned and punched towards the God Treasure King's seal, wanting to break the seal and take the Monarch Occult Force first. The God Treasure King had already stopped releasing the seal. He kept on retreating, avoiding the people who were like fierce beasts. Seeing everyone losing their reason for the treasures and killing crazily, the God Treasure King's warm expression had already disappeared, and what replaced it was disappointment and helplessness. Activate the treasure device. Forcefully take back the Monarch Occult Force and Big Dipper transposition. He turned his wheelchair and spoke to the disciples behind him. Treasure device? The disciple was startled and anxiously said, Sect leader, the activation of the treasure device requires a certain amount of time, and if it is not activated successfully, it will explode. At that time, I am afraid it will be dangerous. This group of people are blinded by greed. Even if I have to destroy these two treasures, I will not let them obtain them. Quickly, activate the treasure device. Quickly, the God Treasure King bellowed. The disciples no longer refuted. They turned and jumped into the gigantic rainbow dragon boat, fiddling with something. Very quickly, a strange chi that was like a magnet with a strong suction force exploded out from the dragon boat. Long Ao Tian, who was still attacking the enchantment, smelled the chi. His face immediately changed and roared, God Treasure King, what are you doing? Humph! You bunch of greedy people, not following the rules of the competition, forcefully snatching the treasures. Now, I want my treasures back. As for the grand meeting, we will talk about it in the future. The God Treasure King, who was sitting on the wheelchair, said coldly. Hearing that, Long Ao Tian was enraged. No one is challenging my Long Ao Nation. The champion of this grand meeting is my Long Ao Nation. Now, these two treasures are mine. How dare you take them back? The God Treasure King closed his eyes, as though he was not willing to argue anymore. Bang! Just then, Long Ao Tian's face was suddenly struck by a divine chi, and he was sent flying. Another sturdy man immediately took his place, attacking the Monarch Occult Force, wanting to snatch the treasures. Suyin, who was behind, heard that. His heart immediately sank. If that was the case, he could not just sit at the side and watch the tigers fight. Furthermore, he was only relying on the heavenly crystal and sprite shadow to activate his strength. If the two treasures were to disappear, he would be in danger. I need to quickly take the treasures and leave. Suyun's heart congealed, accumulating 100 swords, revolving around his body continuously. His entire body was enveloped by a gust of sword wind. Then he struck the Monarch Occult Force. Limitless Sword Lord, don't tell me you still want to participate in this? Do you really think the people at Wushuangju Peak are just air? Don't look down on me. Everyone was enraged. Limitless killing people was not enough. He still wanted to snatch the treasures. If he really took away the treasures, how would they have the face to stand in the Sky Martial Continent? But this person was like a sharp sword, with an irresistible force. Wherever his sword pointed, he would be invincible. Don't block me. A loud roar exploded out. The Ling Chi rippled out. The people who were near only felt that they were in the middle of thousands of sword auras, as though their bodies were being torn apart. Humph! Limitless. You are just relying on treasures. You dare to be so savage? Long Ao Tan immediately rushed over. The fierce golden light transformed into a soaring golden dragon, the majestic dragon aura illuminating the heaven and earth. Many of the weaker people started trembling. They felt as though their hearts were being shrouded by a pressure that was difficult to erase. Suyin turned and stared. Accumulating 100 swords, he rushed towards Long Ao Tian. Clang, 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 clang. The 100 swords converged into a current, crashing towards Long Ao Tian. Dong, 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 the golden light and the sword current clashed, exploding out a large amount of profound spirit chi ripples. The surrounding people were all flung away. The area around the monarch occult force was instantly cleared. Such a terrifying technique was not inferior to the cleaving the heavens, beheading the dragon of the sprite's shadow 72 mystical techniques. But at the scene, there were still a few experts standing. Shirtion Doweran's squinted eyes suddenly widened, staring at the unguarded monarch occult force. He immediately flew over. For this object, who knows how many people have died? This object is a calamity. Why not let my swallowing heaven sect take it and seal it within the sect to prevent more people from sacrificing themselves? With that said, Shirtion Doweran immediately rushed over. Hypocrites! You obviously want to take it yourself, but you still speak so righteously. Lord Zisu and 3 items deity palaces Dianhong immediately scolded and rushed over. All the experts stood in a circle, unable to determine the victor. Suyin controlled 100 swords and fought with Long Ao Tian in the air. The two of them exchanged blows. It was extremely intense, but at this time, the chief in the Rainbow Dragon Boat was getting denser and denser. If this dragged on, the God Treasure King would definitely take away the treasure. The Dragon Boat was a huge treasure that the God Treasure King had painstakingly built. It was used as a resting place for the Congregate of Treasures sect. On top of it were disciples of the Congregate of Treasures sect, and inside the big boat, there were many enchantments, arrays, and many treasures installed. If the Monarch occult force was taken away by the Dragon Boat, no one would be able to take it back. Barging into the Dragon Boat was equivalent to going against the entire Congregate of Treasures sect. Attack the Congregate of Treasures sect. I can't drag on any longer. Suyin gasped for breath. He forced back Long Ao Tian, who was ferociously attacking with tyrannical chi, feeling the profound spirit chi in his body getting thinner. He took a deep breath and quickly took out a black pill from his storage ring. Without hesitation, he stuffed it into his mouth. Chapter 157. When the pill entered his mouth, it tasted bitter. Very quickly, it slid into his abdomen and broke down. A large amount of misty chi was produced. It was like a poisonous snake that drilled into every part of his body, into his chi channels, into his spirit essences, turning into threads and gradually disappearing. When all the chi had disappeared into his body, all the chi channels and spirit essences in his body became translucent, as though they were made of jade. Especially at the spirit essences, there was actually a pitch black hole, as though there was an infinite world hidden inside. The earth spirit essences were even more amazing. They were not like ordinary spirit essences, they were pure black. At this moment, the spirit essences stopped producing profound spirit chi. The profound spirit chi that was flowing through his chi channels also stopped. His chi channels dried up, and there was not a single trace of spirit chi left in his body. The spirit chi could no longer support him. The 100 swords that were flying around Su Yun all fell to the ground. Even the 1,000 deep sword that was dragging Su Yun fell straight down. He fell from the sky. Long Ao Tian, who was about to attack Su Yun, was stunned when he saw this. In that moment, the person's spirit chi that was much more powerful than the swift wind spirit chi disappeared without a trace. If not for Long Ao Tian's extraordinary senses, he would not have believed it. But in the time it took for a spark to fly off a flint, a burst of suction suddenly erupted with him as the center. It was as though a big mouth had suddenly appeared in the darkness. A gigantic, deep blue halo appeared behind Su Yun. The halo spun like a whirlpool. All the people who were fighting in all directions had their profound spirit chi trembling. It was getting stronger and stronger. They could not suppress it at all. In the end, all of it leaked out of their bodies and poured into Su Yun. Vanquishing spirit pill. Changing chi. Reversing the spirit essences. With the spirit essences as the core, the release was twisted into absorption. All the profound spirit chi in the surroundings was absorbed and turned into his own. It was one of the secret pills of the immortal Tao. The vanquishing spirit pill did not ignore a person's cultivation and reverse the spirit essences. Currently, Su Yun's spirit essences were supported by the heavenly crystal. It was extremely dense and could move. If the opponent was stronger than him, the spirit essences would not be able to affect his chi. Shirtion Doweran, Lord Zisu and the rest who were fighting all retreated. They anxiously used qi to stabilize their spirit essences and suppress the profound spirit qi in their bodies. But it was very difficult. At the moment, Su Yun was like a black hole, an insatiable bloody mouth, frantically devouring all the profound spirit qi around him. The weak cultivators were unable to suppress the profound spirit qi in their bodies and were directly plundered. With the weak cultivators' profound spirit qi as a supplement, the suction force became even stronger. Even Long Ao Tian found it hard to defend, and his strength was slowly being plundered by Su Yun. How could this be? Long Ao Tian opened his eyes wide and looked at Su Yun in disbelief. Suddenly, a scene flashed past his mind. It was the scene of Su Yun swallowing the vanishing spirit pill. Don't tell me. It's because this kid took a pill? Long Ao Tian stared at him. His face suddenly turned sinister. His entire majestic qi exploded forth, and he rushed towards Su Yun with a tyrannical and peerless qi. Stop! Long Ao Yin let out a furious roar, and his aura exploded. The people around him instantly felt an urge to kneel down and submit to him. Su Yun looked at Long Ao Yin, who was rushing over. He did not panic. He took out another pill from his storage ring and placed it in his mouth. At this time, if he were to move recklessly, the effect of the vanishing spirit pill would be forcefully interrupted. Long Ao Yin's cultivation was strong. It would be hard for him to absorb all the qi in a short period of time. If he could not absorb all the qi, he would still have energy to spare. Just that, the effect of the vanishing spirit pill would not last for long. So, the vast and boundless true divine spirit qi, under the influence of Long Ao Yin's unique technique, turned into a dazzling gold light, dazzling everyone's eyes as it flew over. This scene was simply unstoppable. But, facing such a tyrannical attack, Su Yun did not have any defensive measures. Instead, he quietly looked at Long Ao Yin, not moving, not saying a word. It was as though the incoming killing technique was not hitting his body. Dong! The overbearing fist that was flickering with gold light directly struck Su Yun's chest. The strength of the fist was like the sharpest knife, the toughest rock. In a split second, Su Yun's chest was pierced through, his heart was completely smashed, and the fist passed through the other side of his body. Fresh blood splattered, and flesh splattered everywhere. Everyone's eyes were wide open as they looked over in shock. Limitless Sword Lord's heart was pierced through. Long Ao Yin was elated. He raised his head to look. Then, what entered his vision was a pair of disdainful, contemptuous, and uncaring eyes. Oh! Long Ao Yin's heart jumped. He felt that something was wrong. Voila! Suddenly, the sucking vortex around Su Yun's body suddenly disappeared, and the restless, profound spirit qi in everyone's body finally calmed down. With a clang, Su Yun pulled out his hand, and the death sword appeared in his hand. His arm swayed and directly slashed towards Long Ao Yin's body. He completely ignored his attack and the countless holes in his chest. It was as though he was not injured at all. That's impossible. Long Ao Yin's eyes were wide open. He roared, and his entire body was covered with a layer of golden armor. Clang! The tip of the sword clashed against the armor, but it did not hurt him at all, showing how strong Long Ao Yin's defense was. But the sword that covered his body did not stop there. It stuck close to Long Ao Yin's body and started to absorb, as though it was extracting something. The sword's blade flashed with red light. This person is too weird. What kind of existence is he? Long Ao Yin's heart jumped and immediately retreated. He retreated a few hundred meters away and looked at the place where the death sword was pointing. It was actually rotting and withering. The skin and flesh were dried up, and the blood vessels were all broken. This power, only the people of the demonic continent can use it. Long Ao Yin raised his head, looked at Su Yun, and saw that the hole in his chest was actually starting to heal, and the surrounding skin and flesh started to regenerate, healing, and in a moment, it was as good as new and returned to normal. When Limitless Sword Lord killed the Blood Soul Master, he used the demonic qi. It's enough to show that he has a deep relationship with the people of the demonic continent. Madame Purple Star, who was watching from below, whispered to the Mu family beside her. She also wanted the monarch occult force, this kind of unique treasure that could bestow the power of the five elements. If she could find out the reason behind it, it would definitely be a huge contribution to the profound spirit world. But after experiencing the incident in the academy, her strength had dropped by a lot, and her injuries had not healed. How could she dare to participate in the fight? And this time, the Mu family did not send any experts, so the two parties could only watch from the side. Going up would be courting death. Sword Lord, I never thought that you were from the demonic continent. Lord Zisu saw Su Yun's terrifying and strange power and immediately shouted out. But Su Yun did not care about him. The vanquishing spirit pill had helped him absorb an abundance of profound spirit chi, and at that moment, his entire body was filled with profound spirit chi. His chi channels were swollen, and his spirit essence was circling with an incomparably dense power, and his condition was at its peak. But it was not the same for the rest. Most of them had already used up a lot of their strength in the fight, and after being absorbed by Su Yun, their strength became even weaker. Su Yun's blood-red eyes looked around, and with a wave of his hand, the 100 swords bloomed like a lotus and revolved quickly around his body, the whistling sword chi wreaking havoc in all directions, like a hurricane. No one dared to go up. At that moment, Su Yun's strength was at its peak. The wounds on his body had all recovered, and he seemed to have returned to his peak condition. Without absolute confidence, who would go up and die? They were afraid that not only would they not be able to snatch the monarch occult force, they would also lose their lives. Su Yun raised the death sword and stared at the enchantment that was sealed with the monarch occult force and fiercely slashed down. The pitch-black sword stirred up a dense black chi and slashed down from the sky. Clang! A crisp sound came out, and the enchantment that was sealed with the monarch occult force finally could not hold on any longer, and a few cracks appeared. Not good. Seeing that, the surrounding people could no longer hold back. How could Long Ao Tian sit and watch Su Yun snatch the monarch occult force? And at that moment, the treasure on the rainbow dragon boat seemed to have been activated. The suction force became stronger and stronger, and a large amount of gray, white chi wrapped around the monarch occult force, like tentacles. Su Yun's face was sinister. He raised his sword and slashed down. Crack! The enchantment was completely destroyed. The strange crystal that glowed with a five-colored light immediately fell from the sky. It's mine! Long Ao Tian's roar exploded out. Leave the monarch occult force. Sure Tian Dowren rushed over. Damn it! Countless of tyrants from all directions went completely crazy. All of them brandished out their treasures, unleashing mystical techniques. Disregarding everything, they smashed towards Su Yun. Then, Su Yun still did not defend and ignored all the power. Minding his own business, he grabbed the monarch occult force, holding it in his hand. He then threw the death sword into the air, leaping up and stepping on the death sword. He activated the death sword and shot into the sky, wanting to leave. The scattered attacks landed on his body, causing his body to be full of holes and broken into pieces. But no matter how broken his body was, he did not die. Even if his bones were broken and his organs were spilling out, it was as if nothing had happened. Is the treasure-keeping artifact still not activated? Seeing Su Yun escaping, the God Treasure King roared anxiously. Reporting to sect leader, "It's almost done." The disciple immediately shouted. Just as they were speaking, Su Yun was already far away in the sky, a long black trail in the sky. If Su Yun did not leave, maybe the monarch occult force could still be retrieved through the treasure-keeping artifact. But if Su Yun left, the range of the treasure-keeping artifact would not be able to cover it. Even the God Treasure King could only sigh. A group of tyrants chased for a while, but seeing that they were unable to catch up to Su Yun, who was sprinting with all his might, they could only give up. After a moment, the seal on the revolving star passage that had not been broken was successfully activated by the treasure-keeping artifact. The God Treasure King angrily stepped onto the rainbow dragon boat and brought his disciples away from Wushuangju Peak. Every sect fought a bloody battle, but did not obtain any benefits, so they all started to complain, and all of them accumulated hatred and finally dispersed. The Wushuang Great Ensemble had no choice but to stop, and the curtains fell. Chapter 158. In the central mansion of the Su clan, under the leadership of Su Tai and Su Shilong, a large number of Su clan disciples walked into the mansion. All the higher-ups of the Su family were gathered in the main hall of the mansion. Dressed in a jade-green robe, Su Lixiong sat in the middle with a gloomy expression. The disciples of the main house waited outside the hall. Su Tai and Su Shilong directly entered the hall. Su Tai rushed into the hall and immediately knelt down with tears flowing down his face. He was filled with grief and indignation as he reprimanded Limitless Sword God for his crimes. He was filled with regret for the death of the great clan elder. Everyone present frowned as they listened, their anger burning. Limitless. Su Lixiong slapped the armrest. His expression was cold as he stood up and bellowed. My Su family will make him pay with his blood. We swear to avenge great elder with our lives. The higher-ups of the Su family all stood up and shouted in indignation. Su Lixiong nodded. His ugly face finally recovered a little. He stared at Su Tai and asked, "Where's Miss?" Miss? Hearing that, Su Tai perspired a little and said, "That. Ever since Miss came down from Wushuangju Peak, she has been bedridden, as though she was injured on Wushuang Peak, and it is difficult for her to recover." How did she get hurt? Even spirit doctors can't cure it? Su Lixiong frowned. At that time, there were too many things that happened abruptly. I don't know how young mistress got injured, and the spiritual doctor couldn't find the cause. I only know that her body's chi meridian is pale, her blood vessels are not smooth, and her heartbeat is weak. Initial speculation is that it may be the vanishing yang disease. She cannot touch the light. Now the young miss has been placed under Marshallbone Mountain to avoid the light and wait for the medicine to cure her. Su Tai lowered his head and said, "Really?" Hearing that, Su Lixiong lowered his eyebrows and thought for a while, then said, "Young miss is too important. We cannot make any mistakes. Quickly send 2 groups of people. One group will head to Blossom Heart Valley. If we can invite Gue Mo Ju or Pill King to treat her, that'll be the best. If we cannot invite them, get them to prescribe some good medicine for young miss and quickly send it over. The other group will head directly to the Profound Sky sect. Inform them of this matter, and let them think of a way to save young miss." "Understood," Su Tai quickly said. Su Lixiong solemnly nodded his head and said, "Go and take a look at Miss's condition. I hope that her injuries will not affect her cultivation. Miss is very important to our Su family. Nothing can happen to her." "Yes, Patriarch." Su Tai hurriedly stood up and bowed. "Family head, please." Su Lixiong nodded and walked out of the hall with his hands behind his back. The group of higher-ups hurriedly followed. Marshallbone Mountain was located on the southern side of the inner sect. From the main house to Marshallbone Mountain, there was a long way to go. Although with the cultivation of the Su family's patriarch, Su Lixiong, it would only take him an incense stick of time to reach Marshallbone Mountain. However, with so many people following behind him, he could not possibly rush alone. A group of people rode on spirit stallions and guarded the patriarch's carriage. They majestically headed towards Marshallbone Mountain. Halfway there, Su Lixiong, who was in the carriage, bellowed. Su Tai, who was riding on a stallion with a crooked body, hurriedly ran over. "Ma, Patriarch, what are your orders?" Su Tai said hurriedly with a forced smile on his face, even though the people in the car wouldn't look at him. "I forgot to ask before." The blurry silhouette in the carriage asked, "This time's meeting of heroes, it is said that the great clan elder had arranged for outer sect disciple Su Yun to participate. Do you know what happened to Su Yun?" "Su Yun?" Su Tai's face was stunned. "After you came back, I heard some news about him. This person did not return to the Su family, right? It is said that he had already betrayed the Su family. Is this true?" This Su Tai's face slightly changed. His eyes moved randomly. His brain thought for a moment, then he quickly said, "Patriarch, this matter is not true. Su Yun is still in the outer sect. How could he have betrayed the Su family?" "Haha, Patriarch, you must have heard wrong. Don't be misunderstood by these rumors." "Oh." Su Lixiong did not speak again. Su Tai saw this and secretly let out a sigh of relief. After the death of the great clan elder, he was responsible for all the disciples. It was impossible for him not to know about this. If he said that Su Yun had indeed betrayed the Su family, then the patriarch would definitely ask him why he did not mention this matter in the hall. If he said he did not know, then it was even more impossible. As an elder, how could he be innocent? The carriage continued to move towards Marshallbone Mountain. About an hour later, the main house's carriage arrived at the foot of Marshallbone Mountain. The guards in front of the barrier looked at each other in doubt. They all ran forward in fear and trepidation. We pay our respects to the patriarch. Suli Xiong opened the curtain and walked down from the carriage. His majestic eyes swept across the barrier in front of him and shouted, "Open the barrier and bring me to the young miss." Young miss? The guard were all confused. After looking at each other, the guard captain cupped his fist and said, reporting to the patriarch, "The young miss came here in the future." Came here in the future? Suli Xiong's eyes flashed with doubt. Su Tai, who was at the side, took a few steps forward and shouted, "Nonsense! The spirit doctor diagnosed that the young miss has the absolute yang disease. She cannot touch the sun, so the young miss ordered people to come to Marshallbone Mountain to avoid the sun. The young miss is obviously inside. How could she not come?" The captain was not afraid of Su Tai. He cupped his fist and said, reporting to the patriarch, "Marshallbone Mountain is my Sioux family's forbidden area. No matter who it is, without the patriarch's permission, no one can enter. We will not open it. Moreover, the Inchi in Marshallbone Mountain is extremely heavy. The mountain is filled with miasma all year round. Without an antidote pill, anyone who enters will die. I have never heard of such a thing." "So you are saying that the young miss did not come to Marshallbone Mountain?" Reporting to the patriarch, "The young miss did not come here. I have not opened the barrier of Marshallbone Mountain recently." When Suli Xiong heard this, his eyebrows became even more gloomy. He turned his head and stared at the pale Su Tai. He coldly said, "What the hell is going on? This? I also heard from Su Shilong that the young miss was recuperating. Other than that, I do not know." Su Tai was so scared that his legs went soft. He knelt down again and said in fear and trepidation. Su Shilong hurriedly ran over and also knelt on the ground. He said, reporting to the patriarch, "This matter was told by the young miss. She told me to report to the second clan elder. I did not know anything. I also did not know if the young miss really came to Marshallbone Mountain. I hope the patriarch will understand." Suli Xiong's face sank. He thought for a moment and growled. "Then did you see if the young miss was really injured?" "This." Su Tai and Su Shilong looked at each other, but did not say anything. When Suli Xiong saw this, his face turned black. He suddenly turned around and stared at the direction of the main house. He seemed to be thinking of something. Suddenly, there was smoke floating in the distant sky. Suli Xiong's face changed. He shouted in a low voice, quickly return to the main house." When he finished, Suli Xiong's feet touched the ground. He soared into the sky and released his profound spirit chi. He quickly rushed towards the main house. When the other main house experts heard this, how could they dare to neglect? They all followed Suli Xiong back to the main house. Su Shilong and Su Tai, who were kneeling on the ground, stood up and mounted their spirit stallions. But they were not in a hurry to follow. The two of them looked at each other and stood at the same spot for a while. After bringing Suli Xiong far away, they immediately turned their stallions around and rushed towards another road. "Two masters, where are you going?" the main house asked anxiously. "We have something to do. You all quickly follow the patriarch back to take a look." Su Tai replied. Everyone nodded their heads. They did not dare to hesitate. Suli Xiong's speed was extremely fast. He did not hold back and rushed towards the main house. When he neared the main house, a series of explosions could be heard. A large amount of smoke floated up. Many of the buildings were destroyed, as though they were attacked by something. "Patriarch, not good. The people from the Xiaofeng Hall are attacking the main house's forbidden hall. They are fighting with the guards of the forbidden hall." A shout came from afar. Suli Xiong's face turned gloomy. He looked over and saw the main house's vice housekeeper, Su Luo. He took a few steps forward and pressed on his shoulder. He asked, "What did you say? The people from the Xiaofeng Hall are fighting with the guards of the forbidden hall?" "Yes, Patriarch. We have already sent people to stop them." The people from the Xiaofeng Hall said that they were under the orders of the second clan elder, Su Tai, and requested to open the forbidden hall. The guard of the forbidden hall said that without your orders, no one is allowed to open the Forbidden Hall. The people from the Xiaofeng Hall tried to dissuade them. Seeing that the guards of the Forbidden Hall did not listen to their orders, they decided to forcefully open the Forbidden Hall. The Xiaofeng Hall is under the direct command of the second clan elder, Su Tai. Without his orders, no one can command the Xiaofeng Hall. And Su Tai was with me just now. Who can command the Xiaofeng Hall? Are you lying to me? Su Lixiong bellowed in anger. Su Luo's face turned pale. His entire body trembled. His breathing became hurried. Patriarch, how would Su Luo dare to lie to you? But the person leading them is not the second clan elder, but Miss Qing. What? Su Lixiong's voice almost burst Su Luo's eardrums. Patriarch, Miss Qing is holding the order badge of Su Tai to lead the people from the Xiaofeng Hall. With the order badge, how would the people from the Xiaofeng Hall dare to disobey? Hearing that, Su Lixiong understood everything. His eyes were burning with anger. The anger in his heart was about to burn his internal organs. He then said, "Let's begin. Use my name to issue the highest order of the Su family. Arrest Su Tai and Su Shilong. Arrest Qing. Put the three of them on the highest wanted list of the Su family. Arrest them immediately. Quick." Arrest? Su Luo did not understand. "I'm afraid they have already started to escape. Quickly send people to catch them. Quick." Su Lixiong's voice was as heavy as a mountain. With that, his figure flashed and rushed towards the Forbidden Hall. Su Luo stood rooted to the ground. He only regained his senses after a while. Inside the Forbidden Hall, the people of the Xiaofeng Hall were still fighting with the guards of the Forbidden Hall. The floor was stained with blood. The roof tiles were broken. The enchantments had stopped working. All sorts of mystical techniques were continuously destroying the surrounding buildings. The big door of the Forbidden Hall had already been forcefully opened. A large number of Xiaofeng Hall guards rushed in. "All of you stop." Su Lixiong rushed over and shouted with a voice that was like a lion's roar. His voice was mixed with profound spirit chi. It caused everyone to feel dizzy, seeing that it was the Patriarch who dared to mess around. They all stopped their attacks. The Patriarch did not care about them. He looked at the enchantment that had been opened. The big door of the Forbidden Hall was wide open. He roared, "Where's Qing? Miss Qing has already left. Where did she go?" "It seems to be the direction of Martial Bone Mountain," one of them shouted. Su Lixiong's eyes flashed with an inextinguishable flame. He smashed the steel wall of the Forbidden Hall with one palm. He bellowed, "Everyone listen up. Now, follow me to catch Qing. We must capture her alive. If she dares to resist, kill her. Kill without mercy. Do you understand?" "Yes." Chapter 159. Martial Bone Mountain Range. Here, the grass was luxuriant and the mountain spring flowed. It was already out of the Su family's protective enchantment boundary, so there was no Su family graveyard here, so there was not much miasma on the mountain. At the foot of the mountain, rustle, rustle, rustle. The grass was stirred, and a young girl wearing a snow-white Blade Master outfit stepped on the grass and dashed forward. She stepped on the soft tips in the air and floated forward like a goose feather. Her speed was extremely fast, like a graceful swan. After passing through the plains, she would be able to leave Julian District. Once she left Julian District, the Su family would not be able to catch up. But behind her, the sky started to darken, the wind started to blow, and the sand and stone started to fly. It was extremely tense, as though it was the end of the world. A muffled roar erupted from the back of the apocalyptic world. "Qing, do you want to rebel? Quickly stop and follow me back to the Su family to explain, or else I will make sure you die on the spot." Su Lixiong's thunderous roar exploded. His cultivation was unfathomable. Just a casual roar would cause people to see stars and their minds to tremble. Their entire body's strength was reduced by 30%. Qing, who was instigating her profound spirit chi, clenched her teeth, inhaled the fragrance, and continued to fly. She did not have any intention of stopping. This day had finally arrived. She had to leave the Su family. She had to leave this disgusting place. She did not want to be a puppet. She did not want to be someone else's tool. She did not want to continue. Seeing that Qing did not have any signs of stopping, Su Lixiong was enraged and increased his speed. In a short while, he was close to Qing. But Qing Er's speed had also slowed down. She ran out of the grass and landed on an empty space behind. Behind the empty space was a pile of rocks, and the surroundings were extremely quiet. A man dressed in a black blade master robe, wearing a broken iron mask, was sitting on a huge rock. In front of the rock, two swords were stabbed into the ground. One was covered with a sheath, heavy and oppressive. The surface was engraved with evil spirit patterns. The other was not covered with a sheath, and the sword body was long and shiny, showing off its power. The man raised his head and stared coldly at Su Lixiong, who was approaching him. Voila! The thick and dense qi dissipated. Su Lixiong stopped and stared at the man suspiciously. He wanted to analyze the man's profound spirit qi to determine his cultivation level, but to his surprise, he could not see through his opponent's cultivation level. Seeing the person's attire, black blade master clothes, iron mask, sword sheath, Su Lixiong seemed to have guessed who he was. "You are limitless sword god?" he asked in a deep voice. The man jumped down from the rock and walked towards the two swords. "Young master." Qing Er ran over, gasping for breath as she called out, but her eyes were filled with worry. She immediately took out her sword and looked at the people chasing after her with vigilance. The Black Blade Master clothed man revealed a comforting smile to Qing Er, then turned and looked at Su Lixiong. "Limitless? This name might be unfamiliar to you." The man extended his hand and took off the mask on his face, revealing a pale, white, yet demonic face in front of Su Lixiong. "You are Su Yin?" Su Lixiong was shocked, his face suddenly twisted. I never thought that you were limitless. What's so surprising about that?" Su Yin held onto the broken mask, his eyes filled with craziness and passion. Su Lixiong's eyes were filled with killing intent. "That means the great clan elder was actually killed by you." "Good. Very good." Su Yun. "No. Limitless sword god." "Very good. You dared provoke my Su family. I want you to die without a burial ground." "Want me to die without a burial ground?" Su Yun's mouth rose, and he looked at Su Lixiong. "There's no rush. Before that, I want to know what agreement the Su family has with the Profound Sky sect. Can you tell me?" Su Lixiong's face changed, but very quickly he calmed down. "What are you talking about? I don't understand. What agreement? What Profound Sky sect? I don't understand." "Huh? Pretending to be ignorant? Forget it. Forget it. I didn't lure you here to interrogate you. I won't be able to get anything out of you." Su Yin laughed. He placed his hand on the death sword's hilt and lightly tapped the sword blade. After Qing Er returned to the Su family, she had been pretending to be sick and did not see Su Lixiong. With the cooperation of Su Tai and Su Shilong, she made use of this illness to lure Su Lixiong out of the main house and headed towards Martial Bone Mountain, giving Qing Er ample opportunity to obtain the treasure that Su Yun had been scheming to obtain, which was the treasure placed in the Forbidden Hall. If not for this treasure, Su Yun would have brought Qing Er away at Wushuangju Peak. "Oh, you purposely let Qing Er lure me here? Interesting." Su Lixiong's eyes congealed. "I don't know when Su Tai and Su Shilong became your men, but if you want to challenge me, I can give you the chance." "Challenge you? There will be a day, but not now." Su Yun looked at Qing Er. Qing Er nodded her head and took out a treasure box from the ring on her slender fingers and gave it to Su Yun. Looking at the surface of the treasure box that had a rainbow pattern engraved on it, Su Lixiong's face became extremely ugly. "You think you can rely on this to escape the Su family's pursuit?" Su Yun did not say a word, kept the box, and kept it in his storage ring. "Give it to me," Su Lixiong bellowed. "Is that possible?" Su Yun raised his cold eyes. "The Forbidden Hall has placed most of the Su family's treasures, but they sent people to meticulously set up an enchantment and created a platform. But there is only one item, the exquisite Heartstone. The exquisite Heartstone is a treasure created by Fairy Ling Long, and with it, you can change space at will. With one leap, you can travel thousands of miles, and in an instant, you can travel from the southern region to the northern region. But this treasure has a limit. Every time you use it, it will consume a layer of the stone's power, and currently, it can only be used 3 times. Actually, compared to the treasures that the Su family has, this is nothing, but this exquisite Heartstone seems to be extremely important to you, I don't know if I'm right or wrong. Su Li Xiong's face became uglier, as though someone had hit his weak spot. It's the only thing that your wife, who is also Prince Fu Su's birth mother, left for you, right? Su Yin said softly. Enough. Give it back to me. Su Li Xiong roared. Why would he care about anything else? He immediately rushed forward. But just as he moved, with him as the center, the ground suddenly flashed with red light. Following that, a gigantic blood array imprinted with ghost head markings suddenly activated. The array's eye of the array was completely suppressed by the huge boulder, and with a special technique, it could not leak any qi, and after it was activated, thousands of fiendish blood qi exploded out, forming a natural barrier, isolating Su Yun and Su Li Xiong. Bang! Su Li Xiong's gigantic fist directly smashed onto the barrier, instantly causing a crack to appear. The entire ghost head array shook, showing how strong his cultivation was. Su Yun's eyes congealed. He pulled out the Death Sword and Thousand Deep Sword, and was about to step forward to take action, but just then, a figure flashed behind Su Li Xiong, waves of strong, profound spirit qi spiraling towards him. Immediately, Su Yun's face darkened. The blood ghost array was not a strong array. It only used the blood of the demonic beasts to imprison the target, and the people inside the array would be affected by the blood qi, and their cultivation would drop. But even if Su Li Xiong was affected by the blood ghost array, he was not weak. He could not activate the heavenly crystal, and only relied on the sprite's shadow. The power of the mystical techniques would not be as he wished, and after the battle at the peak of Wushuangju, he had not recovered. Su Yin congealed his eyes, pulled Qing Er's delicate hands, and prepared to leave. Su Yin, are you going to run? Seeing that he could not break the blood ghost array in a short while, Su Li Xiong knew that Su Yun had meticulously prepared this array to trap him, so he stopped and shouted, If I don't leave now, don't tell me I have to wait for you to come out before leaving? Su Yun said as he turned around. With Su Li Xiong's strength, he could break the blood ghost array in less than an incense stick of time, and the Su family could quickly rush over to help. If he did not leave now, he would not be able to. Let's go. Let's go. Just leave. Anyway, Qing Er's life won't last long. Just then, Su Li Xiong suddenly laughed out loud. Hearing that, Su Yun's footsteps instantly froze. His pitch-black eyes suddenly turned blood red. He turned around, stared coldly at Su Li Xiong, and said viciously, What did you say? I said, if you bring Qing Er away, then she won't live for long. Su Li Xiong laughed lowly, his long and narrow eyes filled with joy. Won't live for long? What do you mean? Look at the back of her neck. Hearing that, Su Yun anxiously pulled Qing Er over, lifted her black hair, and stared at her pure white neck, only to see a green flower petal imprint, demonic poison. Su Yun's face instantly turned pale, retreated a few steps, and muttered, Oh! Su Li Xiong's eyes flashed a look of surprise. You actually recognize this is a demonic poison? The spirit demon qi is overflowing, and it's deeply hidden. This unique qi, it must be a demonic poison. Su Yun closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and stared at Su Li Xiong. From the qi emitted from the patterns, it's at least 3 years old. You're so vicious. You actually did such a thing. Once the demonic poison flares up, there's nothing you can do. Su Yun, I've underestimated you. I never thought you would have such an understanding of demonic poison. That's right. 3 years ago, I started to order people to poison Qing Er's spirit tea. Qing Er, do you still remember every time after training, I would order you to drink that cup of tea? That's right, that tea contained the isolated, enchanting demonic poison. This poison, after being consumed for many years, can take root and grow in a person's body. To remove it is not an easy task. Every day, I would add an antidote to the pill that Qing Er consumes to suppress this poison. If Qing Er leaves without my antidote, she will definitely die. Wait! Before Su Li Xiong could finish his sentence, Su Yun suddenly interrupted him and asked anxiously, What did you say? This demonic poison is called the isolated, enchanting demonic poison? Su Li Xiong's face froze. Why? Is it the isolated, enchanting demonic poison that was refined from the 9 demon trees' spirit tree? Su Li Xiong's heart thumped and asked, How did you know? Who? Su Yun heaved a sigh of relief and laughed. I can cure it. With that, he immediately grabbed Qing Er's hand, turned, and ran. Very quickly, they disappeared. Su Lixiong stared at the two of them in a daze, and suddenly came to his senses. He roared out, and the dense qi broke the blood demon array. Su Yun, Qing Er, even if you escape to the ends of the earth, I want to catch you. Catch you. Chapter 160. Shaking off Su Lixiong, they rushed out of the Zhu Lian region. The two of them did not have the slightest bit of time to rest. Activating their profound spirit qi, they ran like the wind. The mountains and trees on both sides kept retreating, and the wind whistled past their ears. Young master. Just then, Qing Er opened her cherry lips and called out. Her eyes were filled with worry. What's wrong, Qing Er? Su Yin did not understand. Qing Er hesitated for a while, but still opened her mouth. Young master, we're using profound spirit qi to travel. Although we are fast, we do not know how much spirit qi we left behind. Although we have shaken off the patriarch and the rest, but with the spirit qi we left behind, they can still easily catch up to us. Don't worry. Su Yin smiled. I have arranged everything. In this period of time, all the routes, our destination, all the plans, I have carefully thought about it. If we continue forward, we will be safe. Don't worry. Seeing the young master's solemn vow, Qing Er's slightly unstable heart calmed down. She obediently nodded her head and did not speak anymore. Very quickly, the two of them reached the end of the road, and a fork appeared. Su Yin did not hesitate at all. He brought Qing Er and rushed towards the left side of the road that led to the forest and quickly entered the forest. Before we started, I've already contacted Xianyu and Xingyang and asked them to prepare a large amount of Valley Qi powder and started to scatter it at the fork. The Valley Qi powder has a dense smell, and after 2 hours of precipitation, it will change. If it comes in contact with the profound spirit qi, it will be combined. Now that we are walking on this road full of Valley Qi powder, Su Lixiong wants to use his profound spirit qi to chase us? Completely impossible. Hearing that, Qing Er's eyes lit up. She happily looked at the person who was holding her hand. Suddenly, Qing Er felt that the young master was becoming more and more unfamiliar. His attentiveness, gentleness, wisdom, and that mysterious power. He was actually limitless or God? The person who killed the Blood Soul Master, saved the lives of the Purple Star Academy and the mystical mountain range. The person who shocked everyone with his sword. The person who made all the wanted criminals tremble in fear. He was her young master? The young master who drank and gambled every day, did not think of anything, and only thought of asking her for spirit coins? Qing Er felt as though she was in a dream. All of this did not seem real. In the past, she had always lived a tiring life. Young master was like this, but she couldn't do anything. She could only earn some spirit coins from the main family to support young master. After Madame and old master died, she had to take responsibility for young master. She had to let young master live well. Life was hard, and she felt that the future was bleak. But she still clenched her teeth and persevered. However, just when she had lost all hope for the future, the young master seemed to have been reborn. What was going on? Qing wanted to know, but now, her heart was filled with even more joy. Master, Madam, you should be able to rest in peace now. Qing Er thought to herself. The two of them rushed into the forest. There was not enough light in the surroundings, and the forest was slightly cold. Apart from the chirping of birds, there was nothing else. Plop! Su Yin stopped in his tracks. Qing Er quickly regained her senses and stopped. Su Yin looked around and shouted, Xianyu, Xingyang, are you there? We're here. A voice came out, but it sounded uneasy. Su Yin looked towards the direction of the voice and saw 3 figures walking out from behind a big tree. Xianyu, Xingyang, and another person that he had met before. Crown Prince Fu Su? Su Yin frowned. Xianyu and Xingyang had a bitter face. They lowered their heads and did not say a word. Their faces were filled with guilt. Xianyu, what's going on? Su Yin took out the death sword and asked softly, Big brother. Xianyu raised her head and gritted her teeth. I'm sorry, big brother. When brother and I came here to prepare, The crown prince, he came. He has been following us. Following? Su Yun frowned. His face was filled with killing intent. Why are you following the two of them? Did you find out about my actions? No, your actions were very secretive. The two of them kept their mouths shut. Crown Prince Fu Su shook his head. Then you sent people to monitor the two of them every day? Crown Prince Fu Su was quiet for a while, but he still nodded his head and admitted it. Oh, Su Yun's eyes turned sinister. He held onto his sword and walked over. Crown Prince Fu Su did not panic. He smiled. I am not here to be your enemy, Su Yun. Then why are you monitoring them? In truth, I'm not targeting them. I will monitor all the people that follow me. When they have any strange reactions, I will know at the first moment. This is not targeting them, but a form of warning. XINU and Xingyang have recently bought a large amount of grain sheet powder. This attracted my attention, and that is why I am here today. Hearing that, Su Yun's eyes revealed a trace of suspicion. He looked around and said, Why are you here alone? Su Li Xiong is trying to capture me. Why? Are you here to capture me? Capture you? Ha 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 ha. I do not care what Su Li Xiong wants to do. I, Fu Su, never asked for anyone's permission. I am here today to meet you. That's all. Crown Prince Fu Su laughed. You're not afraid that I will kill you? I am, but I have methods to protect my life. Furthermore, you still need me to protect XINU and Xingyang. Very confident, but you are too arrogant. After I leave, XINU and Xingyang will not continue staying in the Su family. They will go to Blossom Heart Valley. That means it will be hard for us to meet again. Yes. Fu Su did not speak. After a long while, he took a deep breath and said indifferently, Su Yun, do you know? Know what? I smell a familiar scent on you. The corners of his mouth curled up, revealing a faint smile. What does that mean? I can't represent anything, Fu Su laughed. He turned and walked out of the forest. His pace was neither fast nor slow. All right, since we have met, I should go. His voice came out, sounding extremely natural and unrestrained. Su Yun looked at his back, his head lowered as he thought about something. XINU and Xingyang had already packed up. They did not need to continue staying in the Su family. They only stayed to help Su Yun. Now that Su Yun had chosen to leave, they naturally followed suit. Although the two of them were not considered strong, if they were to meet strong people outside, it would still be extremely dangerous. Currently, they needed to rely on a more reliable powerhouse or sect. After shaking off the Su family's pursuit, Su Yun led the three of them in a big circle and directly rushed towards Blossom Heart Valley. XINU and Xingyang could not only be placed in Blossom Heart Valley, Su Yun also needed the power of Blossom Heart Valley to treat Xing Er's demonic poison. He never thought that Su Li Xiong would have a demonic poison. Such a thing should be unique to the spirit demon race. Why would he have it? Did he get it himself? Or did someone give it to him? Carrying this doubt, the four of them rushed for a few days. Finally, they passed through Broken Walk City and neared Blossom Heart Valley. Because they had already informed Gue Emoju, when the four of them reached the entrance of Blossom Heart Valley, Gue Emoju and a few of the Pill King's disciples were already waiting at the entrance. Master Su Yun, you're finally here. Quickly come in. Io, senior brother has been talking about you all day, almost to the point that the calluses in my old ears are coming out. Gue Emoju looked as though he had seen his savior. He anxiously welcomed the spirit stallions that were walking towards them and bowed to the owner of one of the spirit stallions. Master Ghost is too courteous. Su Yun flipped down from the stallion, returned the bow, and laughed. What kind of person is Master Ghost? How can I trouble you to welcome me here? AI, don't be courteous. Quickly follow me into the valley. Gue Emoju quickly said and turned to lead the way. Everyone followed. Inside the Pill King Pavilion. Greetings, Senior Pill King. Everyone bowed. The Pill King, who was still researching medicine, saw Su Yun, and his old eyes lit up. He anxiously stopped what he was doing and pulled Su Yun over to solve his doubts. Su Yun had many years of research results in his mind, and he could easily solve the problems that the Pill King was having difficulty controlling. But he was not willing to solve it just like that. Although what he said was the same as what he researched, but the essence of it was completely different. It was like a question, and doing it himself was completely different. Su Yun was worried that this would not only not help the Pill King, but it would also restrict his research on medicine. So Su Yun would always point out the crux of the matter and leave the key points for him to think about. Of course, the main purpose of coming to Blossom Heart Valley was not this. Su Yun temporarily pulled the Pill King out of the sea of medicine. A group of people came to the hall and talked about Su Yun's request. Previously, Su Yun had already discussed about the matter of Xianyu and Xingyang. Blossom Heart Valley had also agreed, so the two siblings decided to stay here. Although the Su family was strong and had influence in Julian district, they did not dare to be presumptuous in Blossom Heart Valley. After the matter of Blossom Heart Valley was settled, Su Yun wanted to ask about Qing'er. May I ask the Pill King, does your honorable valley have spirit rays, colorful tail needle, and Tai Ching Yin-Yang mirror? What do you want these for? The Pill King was suspicious. To diagnose an illness. What illness? Demonic poison. Isolated enchanting demonic poison. What? Isolated enchanting demonic poison? The Pill King was shocked. This is the famous chronic poison of the spirit demon clan. If there is no medicine to suppress it, even immortals would not be able to save you. Rascal, you were poisoned? I was not poisoned. Su Yun sighed, looked at Qing'er and said, it was Qing'er who was secretly poisoned by the Su family patriarch. And it has already been 3 years. 3 years? The Pill King looked at Qing'er, his old face becoming serious. After thinking for a moment, he said, although my Blossom Heart Valley has records of the isolated enchanting demonic poison, we do not have any method to cure it. Furthermore, she has been poisoned for 3 years. I am afraid it will not be easy to cure her. Upon hearing that, Xianyu and Xingyang were anxious. Qing'er's face was slightly pale. Her fair hands were twisting her sleeves. She lowered her eyes and bit her lips. Young master, if you can't cure her, then forget it. It's okay, she said softly. But very quickly, a large hand grasped her soft and small hand, and warmth was transmitted from the palm. Qing'er raised her eyes and looked at the person, only to see that his eyes were filled with unswerving determination. Believe me, he said gently, I will cure her. With that, Su Yun's gaze landed on the Pill King and said, Senior, does your honorable valley have these things? We do have them, but can you cure this isolated enchanting demonic poison? I do not have all the ingredients, so I cannot cure her completely. But I need to diagnose the poison in Qing'er's body. I need to know how much time I have left. Seems like you have some understanding of this poison. The Pill King said, since it is a demonic poison, it is naturally afraid of bright things. For example, the radiant flower, moving immortal wood, and other ingredients are very effective against demonic poisons. Senior Pill King, can I trouble you to prepare some ingredients for me? The poison in Qing'er's body cannot be delayed. I need to diagnose her immediately. All right. The Pill King was not long-winded and immediately ordered Gue Mo Ju to arrange it. Qing'er looked at Su Yun worriedly. She wanted to say something, but stopped. According to Su Yun's request, all the ingredients were arranged in a sealed room. Su Yun went in alone and started to draw an array. Of course, while he was drawing the array, the Pill King and a group of Blossom Heart Valley disciples ran over to observe. Seeing Su Yun skillfully drawing the array and adding the patterns, everyone was shocked and gasped. In next to no time, a lustrous grand formation was activated, and strands of intoxicating aura that were like immortal mist swept out. All right, everyone can leave now. The process of setting up the array is rather inconvenient. I'm going to close the door, Su Yun said to the Pill King and the rest who were still unsatisfied. Then he shouted to Qing'er, who was waiting outside. Qing'er, come in. Yes, young master. The slightly pale Qing'er called out softly. After the Pill King and the rest left the room, she walked in. Go to the center of the array. Su Yun went to close the door and pulled the bolt. Qing'er immediately did as she was told. Take off your clothes. Su Yun turned around and said naturally. Oh. Qing'er heard and was instantly stunned. Her cheeks flushed red as she stared at the man. Chapter 161. The small house had no windows, but under the activation of the large array, it was extremely bright. Ching-Er, who was dressed in a snow-white Blade Master cloth, stood in the middle of the large array. Her obsidian-like glassy eyes stared at Su-Yun. Her mouth was slightly opened. Her originally white cheeks were flushed red. She was extremely cute. In next to no time, she recovered from her shock. Her exquisite and fine figure moved slightly while her fine and jet-black long hair fluttered with the wind. She lowered her head, and she seemed extremely shy and uneasy like a bride that was about to enter the bridal chamber. Seeing that, Su-Yun was stunned for a moment, but quickly regained his senses. He could not hold his old face, coughed, and pretended to be serious. Ching-Er, don't misunderstand. I didn't mean it that way. Later on, the diagnosis will require you to remove your clothes to ensure that the spirit chi of the large array can better permeate your body to analyze the composition of the demonic poison in your body, as well as the pattern of its activation. So you need to remove your clothes. I definitely do not have the intention to take advantage of you. So it's like that. Ching-Er's face was still flushed red. Her eyes were looking at her toes. She did not dare to raise her head to look at him. Her pair of white hands were extremely nervous, holding on to her clothes, not knowing if she should take it off. Not taking it off was not good either. Su-Yun thought for a moment, took a deep breath, and said, "How about this, Ching-Er? I'll turn around first, wait for you to remove it, and use some profound spirit chi to cover it. It should be better." No need, young master. Ching-Er is fine. Ching-Er bit her lips, her small hands trembling as she extended her hands towards her own Blade Master cloth. She closed her eyes, her long eyelashes trembling slightly, tender and alluring, and her hands also touched the cloth button. Su-Yun anxiously turned around. He was lecherous and was not a gentleman, but he was willing to respect Ching-Er. This was the most basic respect for a person. Behind him, there was a series of slight movements, rustling, and after an unknown period of time, a trembling voice that sounded like a cat's call came out. Young master, it's done. Oh, have you released your profound spirit chi?" Su-Yun turned and said. However, when he turned around, his eyes widened as if his soul was about to leave its sheath. In the array in front of him, a perfect jade-like body appeared in his line of sight. The young lady's skin was pure white, and her entire body was like jade, perfect and flawless. She placed one hand across her breasts, which are neither too big nor too small, and the curve of her breasts was incomparably alluring. Her other hand covered her lower body, covering her private parts. Her long hair, which was as smooth as ink, was scattered around her fragrant shoulders. She tilted her head slightly, and her eyes were tightly shut. She bit her pink lips lightly, and her cheeks were so red that it seemed as though blood would drip out at any moment. After a while, Su-Yun regained his senses and anxiously said, Young master, it's all right." Ching-Er closed her eyes, her voice weak and gentle. Ching-Er is all right too. Young master, if you don't mind Ching-Er's body, it's all right too." The young girl seemed to have made up her mind to say these words. As the words left her lips, the young girl's cheeks became even redder. It was as if a light touch would cause blood to seep out of her skin. Su-Yun was stunned for a moment. Suddenly, his heart was as clear as a mirror, and the burning desire dissipated by half. Why did Ching-Er say that? Does she like me? Maybe she cares about me, but to talk about love, does she really have it? Su-Yun did not know. Maybe she just wanted to repay her parents for their kindness. Su-Yun took a deep breath and quickly suppressed the sinful thoughts in his mind. He released some turbid, profound spirit chi and wrapped it around her delicate body. Then, he pulled Ching-Er to sit down. Ching-Er, don't think too much. Young master is not such a bastard. You're even poisoned. What we need to do now is to cure the poison. How can we do that? We don't have much time. Let's hurry up and get started. Upon hearing this, Ching-Er's heart, that was beating like a deer, calmed down. She slowly opened her eyes and saw her young master looking at her with a gentle smile. His eyes were filled with warmth. Ching-Er's heart warmed. She did not know why, but a strange feeling surrounded her. She nodded her head lightly, and her shyness faded a little. She sat cross-legged. Very quickly, Suyin entered the main topic. Looking at the gentle and peaceful girl in front of him, Suyun's heart suddenly had an indescribable impulse. Fiercely taking a deep breath, he extended his hand and lifted Qing'er's tender and innocent hands. Gently holding onto them, he started to use qi and activate the array. Hua! The array was activated. The entire array produced a large amount of pure white qi. They were like silk as they drilled into Qing'er's delicate body. One day later, Suyin opened his eyes with a pale face. Qing'er had already fainted. Using this array to analyze the composition of the poison in her body, it would cause the poison to become active. Qing'er would feel the pain that she had never felt before. Although it was not fatal, it was enough to torment her. Suyin walked over and picked up the Blade Master robes on the floor. He helped the girl wear it piece by piece. Feeling the delicate and smooth skin, his heart was in turmoil. Unknowingly, Qing'er slowly opened her eyes. Seeing the young master helping her wear the robes, the redness that had faded away rushed back up again. She closed her eyes tightly, not daring to look. Only when Suyin called out to her did she dare to open her eyes. But at the moment, Suyun's face was filled with seriousness. His brows were filled with worry. Upon seeing this, Qing'er's heart jumped. She quickly asked, "Young master, what's wrong?" Suyin did not speak. He lowered his head and pondered. After a moment, he spoke in a low voice. "Qing'er, maybe you have to stay behind too." "Stay behind?" Qing'er was slightly stunned. "Stay in Blossom Heart Valley?" "Young master, don't tell me you want to leave alone." Suyin fiercely sighed and said, "You have been poisoned for 3 years. If we use the normal method to remove the isolated Luo demonic poison, I'm afraid it will not be effective. So I have decided to find a few medicinal ingredients for you to refine a special pill. This pill might be able to remove the demonic poison in your body. Then Qing'er will go with young master." "No, now that we have escaped from the Su family, you will not be able to take any pills to alleviate the poison. The demonic poison will act up at any time. Blossom Heart Valley is a medical expert. With you here, I will be more at ease. Before I leave, I will prepare a method to suppress the demonic poison. In a short period of time, there should be no problem." "Young master." Qing'er looked at him worriedly and said, "Then will you be in danger?" Suyin was stunned for a moment. Then he smiled. "Don't worry, I'll be fine. Furthermore, I am the limitless sword god. My cultivation is very powerful." His words were relaxed, and there was a hint of teasing. Qing'er only smiled. She did not say anything. The worry in her eyes deepened. The two of them left the small house. Suyin let Xinu arrange for Qing'er to rest while he went to look for the Pill King. Inside the Pill King pavilion, "I want to see the Valley Master." Suyin entered the door and called for the Pill King. He spoke bluntly. "See the Valley Master?" The Pill King was stunned. He shook his head. "Little brother, you came at the wrong time. The Valley Master is in closed-door cultivation. I'm afraid she will not be able to see you. What's the matter?" Suyin hesitated for a moment. Suddenly, he raised his head and stared at the Pill King. He asked, "I have a unique secret. I want to share it with the Valley. It is related to spirit life qi." "What?" After the Pill King heard that, he was stunned. Then his sunken eyes suddenly opened wide. In a flash, he appeared in front of Suyin. He grabbed his hands and shouted, "Quickly tell me. Brat, what secret is it? Quickly tell me." Many people in Blossom Heart Valley cultivate spirit life qi. If you research this secret, you can create a pill that is extremely useful to the valley. It will be extremely beneficial to the people who cultivate spirit life qi. I originally did not want to share this secret with the valley, but I have some matters that I hope the valley can help me with. Out of helplessness, I will use it as a condition. If the Pill King can make the decision and agree to my conditions, I will give you the secret with both hands. Make the decision? Of course I can make the decision. Just say it. Whatever you need, just say it. This old man, will agree to anything." The Pill King patted his skinny chest and said solemnly, "Since the Pill King has said so, then I will not be unreasonable." Suyun's expression was serious. He said, "Tomorrow, I will leave Julian district and head to other places to gather ingredients. I will concoct pills to cure Qing Air's poison. Although Qing Air is in the valley, I am still worried. I have brought Qing Air away from the Su family. The Profound Sky sect and the Su family will not let this go. They will chase us here sooner or later. So, I hope that the valley can protect Qing Air's safety." Of course I know, little brother, even if you did not say it, this old man would not dare to neglect it. The guards that I'm talking about are not the protection of the ordinary disciples. I hope that the valley can send out the elites from the poisoned immortal valley. Ah, the Pill King's face changed. He was petrified. After a while, he said, "How do you know about the people from the poisoned immortal valley?" Suyin shook his head. He muttered, "The miraculous Blossom Heart Valley. They kill people without a trace. Blossom Heart Valley is a famous sect in Julian district. How can they not have a method to protect themselves? Although not many people know of the existence of the poison immortal valley, it is not a secret to me. After all, I have done some research on medicine. I have heard much more than the average person." Hearing that, the Pill King was silent for a moment. After a while, he nodded and said, "I will find the elders to discuss this matter. What I want is not to discuss. I want them to come out and protect Qing Air. If they are unable to do so, Su Yun will find someone else to cure her." Seeing that Su Yun was so determined, the Pill King did not hesitate. He immediately nodded his head. "Yes. Very good." Su Yun nodded. "Then, prepare these things for me. Also, give me 100,000 spirit coins and a strong purple horn beast." As Su Yun said that, he wrote a list of items and handed it over. The Pill King took it and looked at it carefully. "Don't worry. Compared to this, the recipe is much more precious," Su Yun said. The Pill King did not speak. After a long while, he kept the list and said seriously, "Deal. I will set off tomorrow." Su Yun took out another recipe from his storage ring and gave it to the Pill King. Chapter 162. Woo! A melodious roar resounded. A purple horned beast the size of a small house slowly walked out of Blossom Heart Valley. On top of the purple horned beast sat a man dressed in a Black Blade Master outfit and carrying a sword sheath. Qing Air, who was behind, bit her lips. She stood at the entrance of the valley and quietly watched Su Yun leave. Even though the man had already disappeared from the valley entrance, she was still unwilling to return to the valley. She continued to watch in a daze. The sun gradually set. Su Yun rode on the purple horned beast that Gue Mo Ju provided. He ran at full speed toward the outskirts of Julian district. Very quickly, he left Julian district and entered the mystical mountain range that was right next to it. Triple Yang Universe Pill. It was a rare pill that was recorded in an ancient book. This book was not from Blossom Heart Valley. Instead, it came from a small ancient sect called Triple Yang Universe Sect. However, Triple Yang Universe Sect had already been destroyed 2,000 years ago. The location of the sect was in ruins. The pill's refining method was also lost. The reason why he was able to obtain the Triple Yang Universe pill was because of a coincidence. That was when he was still studying in Blossom Heart Valley. Because he needed to concoct a pill, Su Yun carried a medicine basket to Broken Rush City to buy ingredients. Coincidentally, there was someone selling medicine books at that time. Among them, there was this Triple Yang Universe pill. However, from the text of the Triang Universe pill's secret manual, on the surface, it was just a very ordinary chi and spirit nurturing secret manual. Every page was densely packed with words, but in reality, every page recorded the description of the Triang Universe pill. Furthermore, there was only one sentence on every page. To read this sentence, one had to look from the upper right corner to the lower left corner. Every page had a sentence, and the entire book had gathered the refining method and principles of this miraculous pill. Discovering this hidden chant was also a coincidence. When Su Yun bought this book, he was careless and did not hold it firmly. The book fell to the ground and tilted at an angle. Only then did he discover this clue. According to the book's description, the Triple Yang Universe pill could reverse heaven and earth. It could reverse yin and yang. It could revive the dead, regenerate flesh, and cure hundreds of poisons. He did not know if this was true or not. However, even if someone were to discover the method and principle behind this pill's concoction, it would be very difficult to grasp it. Not to mention the fact that the profound words were extremely difficult to understand. Just the ingredients used to concoct this pill were all precious treasures, and obtaining them would be like a fantasy. Soo-Yun had fantasized about using this pill to get rid of the strange phenomenon of his talent being unable to improve. However, after spending several months of research, he understood the meaning of the words clearly, but he was stuck at the bottleneck of materials, so he had no choice but to give up. Back then, without cultivation, it was extremely difficult to find materials, but now it was different. Furthermore, he had to obtain those materials now. He had to refine the Triang Universe pill that could cure all poisons. His heart was like a boulder. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. The purple-horned beast's thick and sturdy limbs let out a roar, causing the ground to tremble. Soo-Yun held onto the reins, his mind unable to calm down. With the protection of the elites of the poisonous Immortal Valley, Qing was safe for the time being. However, the demonic poison in her body was not suppressed by any medicine. With his prescription, she could only hold on for a few months. If he was unable to refine the Triple Yang Universe Dan after a few months, the situation would become even more dangerous. After entering the mystical mountain range, Soo-Yun rode on the purple horned beast, stepped on a mountain road, and ran straight towards the Mu family. Every single material for the Triple Yang Universe Dan was extremely rare. It was difficult for ordinary people to obtain, and the first material was related to the Soul Stone. Talking about the Soul Stone, it was the Mu family of the mystical mountain range. As an ancient Soul Stone family, the Mu family had many resources that the Soul Stone Masters did not have. He had a friendship with Mu Feng before, and had saved him twice. If he asked for the rare Yin Yang Soul Stone powder, maybe Mu Feng would generously give it to him. Even if he was unwilling, he could exchange for it. Obtaining the Yin Yang Soul Stone powder should not be a problem. Along the way, he did not stop to rest. Very quickly, Soo-Yun arrived at the north side of the mystical mountain range, Muchong City, a city that belonged to the Mu family. This was the holy land for the Soul Stone Masters in the southern region. There were many Soul Stone Masters from all over the place gathered here. There were beginner Soul Stone Masters, and there were also famous Masters. Regardless of the rank of the Soul Stone Master, they were all indebted to the Mu family. The Mu family held the dominant position in Muchong City. Soo-Yun was still dressed in limitless sword god attire, but he did not wear his mask. He rode on the purple-horned beast and entered the city. Although in the eyes of ordinary people, the purple-horned beast was a high-grade item, and only those with high status and power could use it, but in Muchong City, it was only a mount that could be used for show. People who could learn the Soul Stone technique, could they still be poor? Mounts like the purple-horned beast could be said to be everywhere on the streets. As he neared Muchong City, he could see that the people entering and exiting the city were all dressed in bright clothes. Many of them had necklaces and rings hanging from their bodies. Their entire body was covered in treasures, sparkling and dazzling. Soo-Yun looked left and right, then rode on the purple-horned beast and entered the city. As soon as he entered the city, he heard shouts and the sound of bargaining. The Mu family was not like the Su family. This place was very open. Because of the gathering of Soul Stone Masters, there were many people who came here to sell materials related to the Soul Stone technique. Soul Stone Masters were all rich people, so it was naturally easier to earn spirit coins from them than from other places. Although it was not Soo-Yun's first time in Muchong City, he was not familiar with the place. After asking around, he found the Mu family's courtyard. There was a 5-meter-tall, 7-meter-wide gigantic stone door. On it, there were 2 jade carvings of the word jade. 2 gigantic statues that looked like Qilins were placed on the left and right side of the door. It was rumored that these 2 statues were personally set up by the patriarch of the Mu family. They were originally soul stones. If the Mu family were to cause trouble, they would immediately come to life and assist the Mu family to kill anyone who caused trouble. They would not be merciful, so the Mu family had always lived in harmony and peace. 2 disciples of the Mu family stood in front of the door. Their gazes swept across every single person that came and went. Soo-Yun rode on the purple-horned beast and walked over. He cupped his fist towards the two and said, "Can I trouble you to inform them that Su Yun is here to visit young Master Mufong?" Hearing this, the two hurriedly went down the stairs. After sizing up Su Yun, they returned the greeting, reporting to this young master, "Our family's young Master Mufong has recently fallen ill. It is inconvenient for him to meet guests. Please return." Fallen ill? Hearing this, Su Yun frowned. "Your family's young master is at least an 8th stage spirit intermediate disciple. How could he fall ill?" Most spirit cultivators would not fall ill. If there was a problem, it would be due to injuries or poison. But the two of them were in a trance. They did not explain and cupped their fists. "Please return, young master. Our family's young master is unable to meet you." With that, they could not be bothered with Su Yun. They immediately turned and prepared to leave. "Wait!" Just as the two of them turned, Su Yun shouted. He took out an order badge from his waist and handed it over. "I am from Blossom Heart Valley. I am here on the orders of the Pill King to visit young Master Mufong. If young Master Mufong is really sick, maybe I can cure him." Blossom Heart Valley? The two disciples of the Mu family looked at each other. Their faces were filled with suspicion. If it was an ordinary person, they could reject him. But if it was someone from Blossom Heart Valley, they could not neglect him. "Young master, please wait for a moment. I will inform the master now." With that, a disciple of the Mu family turned and ran towards the door. After a while, that person ran out and respectfully bowed to Su Yun. "Young master, my family's master invites you. Please follow me." "Thank you." Su Yun got down from the purple-horned beast and cupped his fists. "Please." With that said, the people from the Mu family led Su Yun into the huge mansion. The Mu family's manor had a unique charm to it. Upon entering the door, he felt as though he was in paradise. It was as though his soul was about to leave his body. Su Yun looked left and right. He could see that the trees, fake mountains, and even the floor beneath his feet were all embedded with spirit stones. These spirit stones were decorated with plants. They were able to increase the effectiveness of the spirit stones. It allowed people to be calm and unobstructed in their blood vessels. The entire Mu family was probably decorated with these spirit stones. As expected of the spirit stone family, Su Yun sighed his heart. His eyes were looking around. After walking across the bridge and passing through the garden, he was finally brought to the guest hall in the middle of the Mu family. Inside the guest hall, the patriarch of the Mu family and the two deputy clan elders were seated. Seeing Su Yun enter, they stood up and nodded. "I am Su Yun. I pay my respects to the patriarch and the two deputy clan elders." Su Yun cupped his fists and bowed respectfully. "Su Yun?" The patriarch, Mu Tianhao's eyes were filled with suspicion. "Blossom Heart Valley Pill King's disciple. Is there anyone with the surname Su?" "Never heard of it." The deputy clan elders Mu Zhua and Mu Yu shook their heads. Seeing that, Su Yun knew he could not hide it anymore. He smiled and said, "To be honest, I am not a disciple of Blossom Heart Valley. I am a friend of the Pill King." "Friend of the Pill King?" When Mu Tianhao heard that, he was stunned for a moment, then he laughed out loud. "Ha ha ha ha. Little brother, your joke is not nice. It's not that I'm looking down on you, but Master Pill King is a person who can bring the dead back to life. You're too young. How can you be friends with him? This is really hard to believe, huh?" Saying that, Mu Tianhao seemed to have lost interest in Su Yun. He waved his hand and laughed. "Little brother, stay here and have a cup of tea before you leave. I still have some matters to attend to. I will not accompany you any longer." "My apologies." With that, he stood up and prepared to leave. But in the next second, Su Yun took out the order badge. "This is the order badge that the Pill King gave me. It can prove that what I said is true. Other than that, I am here to meet my old friend, Mufong. If I return empty-handed, how can I let this go?" Mu Tianhao stared at the order badge. After thinking for a while, he looked at the person beside him. The person beside him immediately understood and went over to take the order badge. He showed it to Mu Tianhao. Mu Tianhao took it and looked at it. He could feel the vast spirit chi inside. Instantly, he understood that the order badge was not fake. He did not dare to look down on Su Yun anymore. "To be honest, Patriarch, I have a good relationship with young Master Mufong. If it is convenient, "Can I meet young Master Mu Feng?" Su Yun asked. To ask for Yin Yang's soul stone powder, it was better to ask Mu Feng for help. It was a rare treasure. If he asked directly, Mu Tianhao would most likely find a reason to reject him. "I believe that young Master Su has heard from the servants that my son is sick. It is inconvenient for him to meet guests. So please forgive me," Mu Tianhao said. "Sick? May I ask, Patriarch, what illness does young Master Mu Feng have? If I have heard of it before, I can help." Su Yun did not have much confidence in his medical skills. He just wanted to get the soul stone powder. For that, he dared to try anything. Mu Tianhao and the two managing elders secretly exchanged glances. Finally, Mu Tianhao nodded his head and said, "Since you are a friend of the Pill King, you must be knowledgeable in medical skills. Since that is the case, follow me." Chapter 163. Passing through the small path in the side hall, a group of people arrived at an elegant garden behind the guest hall. The surrounding air was clear, the birds were chirping, and the flowers were fragrant. A quiet bamboo pavilion entered Su Yun's eyes. "My son loves bamboo. The place he lives in is made of bamboo." As Mu Tianhao spoke, he led Su Yun into the bamboo house. "Master." Two pretty maids at the door bowed to Mu Tianhao and the rest. Mu Tianhao nodded and asked, "How is young Master?" "Master, young Master is very uncomfortable. He did not calm down for the entire night. We have already changed 3 spirit doctors. There is no improvement. We can only rely on medicine to suppress it. After he took the medicine, there was no more movement." "Is that so?" Mu Tianhao frowned. He sighed. "Open the door. I'll go in and take a look." "Yes, Master," the two maids replied. They opened the door of the bamboo pavilion and the group entered. The outside of the bamboo pavilion was quiet and elegant. The inside of the bamboo pavilion was no exception. There were all sorts of bamboo decorations. They were extremely exquisite. Every decoration had a soul stone imprinted on it. Spiritual chi rippled and soul power shot out. At the end of the pavilion, there was a huge bamboo bed. On the bed laid a young man with a pale face and thin clothes. The young man's face was extremely ugly. There were many black scars on the exposed parts of his body. Many of the scars had cracks. The blood vessels in the cracks had ruptured. Fresh blood flowed around the cracks. Under the bed, there was a spirit array. The spirit array was activated continuously. It released energy that enveloped the young man's body. It healed the cracks on his body and stopped the blood from flowing out. But even so, it could only solve the problem. Just by looking at him, one could guess how much pain he was in. Beside the bed was a slightly plump lady dressed in a yellow robe. The lady held onto a silk handkerchief. She was sobbing. Her eyes were red, and she could not stop sobbing. "Master." Seeing Mu Tianhao enter the bamboo pavilion, the lady cried out in sorrow. She could not help but wipe her tears. All right. Don't cry. There's a guest here. Don't lose your decorum." Mu Tianhao frowned and said. Then he turned to Su Yun. "Young Master Su, Quan Er's illness cannot be treated by ordinary spirit doctors. Can I trouble young Master Su to diagnose and save Quan Er?" "Illness?" Su Yun frowned and walked over. He looked at Mu Feng, who seemed to have fainted on the bed. Frowning, he extended his hand and pressed on Mu Feng's arm. He gently activated his profound spirit chi. Under Su Yun's deliberate control, the sharp, profound spirit chi seeped into Mu Tianhao's body. However, just as it entered his body, it was met with a large amount of resistance from the strange black substance. Before the pure divine spirit chi could completely seep in, it was blocked. Su Yun retreated a few steps. His face changed. "Master Su, do you know how to treat my son?" Mu Tianhao asked. Su Yun turned his head with a cold face and stared at Mu Tianhao. "Master Patriarch, young Master Mu Feng is not sick, but injured, right? Why didn't you just tell me?" "Injured?" Mu Tianhao's face changed, but very quickly he lowered his voice and said, "Young Master Su, don't be angry. Now is not the time to investigate if Quan Er is sick or injured. What we need to consider now is how to save Quan Er. Young Master Su, please save Quan Er." Mu Tianhao avoided the main point, as though he was hiding something. Su Yun was slightly unhappy at first, but then he thought of something and suddenly understood. The power that repelled his profound spirit chi just now seemed to be the power of the soul stone, which meant Mu Feng was injured by the power of the soul stone. The power of the soul stone? Wasn't it just the soul stone technique? If that was the case, didn't that mean Suyin took a deep breath? He knew that he had broken the rules. This was someone else's family matter. It was better not to ask too much. It was more appropriate to take the soul stone powder and leave quickly. He checked Mu Feng's body, probed for signs of life in his body, then stood up and said, "Master Patriarch, young master's injury, illness. Maybe we can only rely on the electric wood to cure it. Other than that, I'm afraid there's no other way." The electric wood was a special type of wood. The wood contained a special kind of electricity. This electricity was extremely effective against the power of the soul stone and could effectively remove the power of the soul stone in Mu Feng's body. Using the electric wood? When Mu Tianhao heard, he did not have much of a reaction. Instead, he shook his head and said, "Actually, there were a few spirit doctors who told me about using the electric wood to treat his illness, but the electric wood can only be found in the electric wood forest. To obtain one piece of electric wood is extremely difficult. Those spirit doctors said that to cure Quan Er's illness, they would need at least 100 pieces of electric wood. To obtain 100 pieces of electric wood in such a dangerous place, I'm afraid my Mu family would have to sacrifice many lives. You can buy it from the market. Although it's expensive, you should be able to gather some. It's hard to gather such a large amount of electric wood in such a short period of time. I'm afraid Quan Er won't be able to last until the day we purchase 100 pieces of electric wood. There were too few electric wood in the market, and they were expensive. With the Mu family's strength, to be able to gather 10 pieces in a month was already a miracle. To gather 100? Mu Feng might not even be able to gather all of them. When Su Yun heard that, he pondered for a while and said, "Gathering 100 pieces of electric wood, maybe it's not difficult. I can help you get them. But you have to promise me one thing. If you can fulfill my condition, these electric wood, I'll give it to you. How about that?" "Mr. Su, anyone can talk big. Don't bite your tongue. Get 100 pieces of electric wood? What's your cultivation level? No matter how strong you are, you shouldn't be a spirit soul disciple, right? Do you really think our Mu family doesn't have any spirit soul disciple? They don't even dare to say such arrogant words. How dare you?" Deacon Elder Mu Zhu could not stand it anymore. His voice was filled with dissatisfaction. Spirit soul disciple? Su Yun was a spirit intermediate disciple who did not even have a spirit core disciple. He shook his head. He was not angry. Instead, he asked, "Getting the electric wood does not depend on strength. It depends on technique. If you believe me, then believe me. If you don't, then watch Mr. Mu Feng die. I don't care." Mu Zhu, Lady Mu could not care less. She grabbed onto Mu Tianhao's sleeves and cried, "Master, master! You have to save Feng. He's your flesh and blood. You have to save him." Mu Tianhao frowned. Looking at his son's pale and pained expression, he said, "Don't say any more. Since Mr. Su has a way to get the electric wood to save Feng, then we will cooperate with Mr. Su." With that, he bowed deeply to Su Yun and said, "Mr. Su, thank you for your trouble. If you have any requests, just let me know. My Mu family will do our best to cooperate. I'll make a list later. Send people to prepare the things for me according to the list. But before that, you must prepare 100 grams of yin-yang soulstone powder. I need it." "Yin-yang soulstone powder?" Mu Tianhao was taken aback. Then his face turned ugly. "Mr. Su, this yin-yang soulstone powder is a powder for my Mu family's main stone. In the entire southern continent, there are only a few pieces of the main stone. This main stone only produces 5 grams every year. You want it? You want 20 years' worth of my Mu family's production? Compared to your son's life, what is this?" Su Yin said. Mu Tianhao lowered his head and thought for a while. Then he waved his hand and said, "All right, we will do as Mr. Su says. But I hope that Mr. Su will not disappoint my Mu family. Don't worry. Once you prepare the things for me, I will prepare the things for you." "All right." Mu Tianhao nodded. "I'll go arrange it now. Clan Elder Muyu. Patriarch, Muyu is here. Go and prepare. First, arrange a place for Mr. Su to stay. Once Mr. Su writes down the list, you can start preparing. Yes, Patriarch. Mu Tianhao nodded. Then, he said to Su Yun, Mr. Su, please rest here tonight. You can leave tomorrow morning. All right. Su Yun nodded. The Mu family did not neglect the person who dared to barge into the electric wood forest. They treated him with good wine and good meat. The room was tidied up neatly and clean. Whatever he needed was there. There were also 2 servants standing at the entrance of the room. They could satisfy all of Su Yun's requests. At night, Su Yun looked out of the window into the darkness. He took a deep breath. He sat cross-legged and started to chi. Everything had been sent over. Not only were there the ingredients that could be used the next day, 100 grams of yin-yang soulstone powder was also sent over. It had to be said that the Mu family had shown their sincerity. Initially, Su Yun could have taken 100 grams of soulstone powder and left. But if he did that, he would have tricked the Mu family and become their enemy. He would have offended a big family. In the future, there would be many opportunities for him to work with the Mu family. The Electric Wood Forest was a very special forest. In the Sky Martial Continent, there were places where the 5 elements mutually destroyed each other. There were also places where the 5 elements existed, just like the Electric Wood Forest. From the outside, the Electric Wood Forest looked like an ordinary forest. There was nothing special about it. But if one were to enter the Electric Wood Forest, he would be enveloped by countless lightning bolts. The Electric Wood Forest would attract lightning bolts from the sky, and every tree would contain intense lightning bolts. These lightning bolts were extraordinary. Even if a spirit-soul disciple cultivator were to touch it, his life would be in danger, not to mention other existences. There were only 4 electric wood forests in the southern region. The smallest one was the one in the mystical mountain range. Su Yun did not have a deep understanding of the electric wood forest, but he had read about it before. He had also heard people talk about how to survive in the electric wood forest. Forget it. Let's not think about it anymore. He took a deep breath and closed his eyes. He slowed down his profound spirit chi and focused all his senses on his heart. There was a pearl that glowed with a rainbow light. This was inlaid on the road to the Mu family. It was like an eye embedded in his heart, releasing a mystical light aura. As the light aura spread out, it nourished all the chi channels and spirit essences in his body. In that moment, Su Yun had a carefree feeling as though he had reached the peak. Monarch occult force. He opened his eyes and muttered. He raised his hand to instigate his profound spirit chi. The profound spirit chi that was supposed to be pure white was now revolving in his hand like a rainbow. The pure divine spirit chi that was wrapped by the 5 elemental chi was rippling in his palm. It was mystical. With this, his profound spirit chi would be extraordinary. No one would be able to defeat him. Even if he was just a spirit intermediate disciple, killing a spirit core disciple would be like slaughtering a pig or a dog. Su Yun thought. Voila! Just at this time, 2 figures suddenly flew past the window. The sound was extremely soft. Following that, the 2 servants who were standing in front of the door fell to the ground. Su Yun's eyes congealed. He picked up the sword sheath on the bed. With a move of his hand, the death sword was unsheathed. Chapter 164. He got off the bed, pulled out the death sword and Thousand Deep sword, and carefully walked towards the door. The door opened, and the 2 servants fell to the ground, as though they had fainted. The surroundings were quiet. Other than the sounds of insects, there was nothing else. The atmosphere was extremely strange. But Su Yun did not even think. He took a step forward and rushed out of the house. If he continued to stay in the cramped house, it would only be more dangerous. The open space outside the house would provide more opportunities for survival. But just as his body left the door, 2 pitch-black spells suddenly came from the left and right, striking at him with an extremely mournful and shrill voice. Su Yun's body moved slightly. He displayed the fallen leaves sword technique. His 2 swords were like leaves, floating towards the 2 mystical techniques. Dang dang. The 2 sword images swept past, and the attack was blocked. Su Yun rushed forward for more than 10 meters before stopping. Looking up, he saw 4 masked men dressed in black standing on the roof, staring at him coldly. Don't interfere with the Mu family's matters. Get out of the Mu family now, or else you'll die. One of them said coldly. Oh. Su Yun's mouth curved into a smile. The reason why Mu Feng was injured was probably because of you guys. Do it. That man bellowed. Since I've taken the money, I have to help them. I've received the soul stone powder from the Mu family, so I have to treat Mu Feng's injuries. This is my principle. How can I just throw it away? Furthermore, if you ask me to get lost, I have to get lost? With that, Su Yun's 1,000-deep sword suddenly flew towards the fake mountain at the side. Under the effect of the monarch occult force, 1,000-deep sword was enveloped by the 5 elements Qi and pure divine spirit Qi. As he waved it, it was as though a rainbow swept past. It was incomparably dazzling, and its power was even more shocking and ferocious. Bang! The fake mountain was smashed into pieces, causing a huge commotion. Very quickly, the panicking voices of the Mu family could be heard from all directions. What's going on? Where did that noise come from? Quick, go to the guest room and take a look. Soft voices could be heard continuously. The few black-robed men's eyes congealed. Kill him. The 4 of them did not dare to delay any further. In a blink of an eye, they rushed toward Su Yun. The Qi on their bodies were extremely destructive Scarlet Star Qi, and their cultivations were all at the Spirit Core disciple realm. Their grades were not low, and were most likely above the 5th stage. If Su Yun was fighting one-on-one, he would naturally not be afraid, but now that there were 4 of them, he would only be at a disadvantage if he fought head-on. He retreated a few steps, waving both his hands fiercely. The pure divine spirit Qi that was supported by the monarch occult force overflowed from the sword blade and flung towards the 4 people rushing towards him. Bang! One of them looked down on Su Yun's strength and raised his weapon to block, but the moment the weapon clashed with the spirit Qi, he was instantly blown away. Scarlet Star Spirit Qi, True Divine Spirit Qi, Swift Wind Spirit Qi, Frigid Aqua Spirit Qi, and Spirit Life Spirit Qi all splashed out. And the fiercest pure divine spirit Qi was like a knife. After being blocked by the opponent's weapon, it immediately shattered, transforming into pieces of iron like Qi dregs, which pierced into the opponent's chest. Poochie, 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 poochie. The crisp sound of flesh being pierced rang out. Although it was not fatal, the man's chest was badly mangled. It was a very frightening sight. This spirit Qi, so strange. The man in black who was flipped over was stunned for a moment, then bellowed. This person is not simple. End this quickly. Hearing that, the other 3 took out a blue ball-shaped object from their storage ring, and when they neared Su Yun, they threw it over. Seeing that, Su Yun hurriedly threw away the 1,000-deep sword and death sword, and slashed toward the flying ball-shaped objects. Bang! 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 The ball-shaped objects were all cut into pieces, but the moment they were cut into pieces, they exploded, and a large amount of extremely cold spirit Qi blew toward Su Yun, enveloping him. This spirit Qi? Su Yun's heart congealed, and hurriedly threw away the 2 swords in his hands. So. The 2 swords flew in the air, and Su Yun was completely engulfed by the extremely cold spirit Qi. The cold Qi exploded, and the temperature dropped. He did not even have time to make a few moves, and was sealed, turning into an ice sculpture. He was still in the position of throwing his swords. Great! Seeing that Su Yun was frozen, the 3 of them had an ominous glint in their eyes, and immediately raised their weapons to unleash their mystical techniques, without holding back. But, just as the 3 of them rushed over, the 2 swords that were thrown away suddenly moved. The 2 swords spun in the air, and then they fell towards Su Yun, the sword tip piercing straight. Clang dang! The ice block was pierced, and the person who was frozen recovered. He hurriedly caught the 2 swords with both hands and retreated half a step, dodging the opponent's attack. Following that, the spirit Qi in his body gushed out crazily, and in that moment, it turned into countless rainbow-like threads, revolving around Su Yun's body. Then, the sharp 1,000-deep sword spun crazily, and the sharp sword Qi rippled. When had the 3 of them ever seen such a swift and fierce sword technique? They hurriedly retracted their hands, and were actually forced back by Su Yun. Storm sword technique. Such a strange technique. Although this guy's spirit Qi was not strong, it was mixed with a large amount of energy. It was strange and hard to find. Furthermore, his technique was so strange, and it was hard to defend against. Who exactly was he? The man with a bloodied chest ran over. He was shocked, and his back was cold, and he broke out in cold sweat. But since it had come to this, how could he turn back? The four of them braced themselves, and once again rushed over. Audacious little rascal, you dare to behave atrociously in my Mu family? Do you really not know how to write the word death? Just then, a ruthless shout came out, and a middle-aged man dressed in a brown robe rushed over. Like a ferocious tiger coming down the mountain, he approached the four of them and immediately struck with four palms. Seeing this person, the four of them revealed a shocked expression. They did not have time to dodge, and all of them were struck by the palms and immediately died. Suyin witnessed this scene, and his heart congealed. To be able to kill a fifth-stage spirit core cultivator with one palm, he had to be at least a fifth-stage spirit soul cultivator. And he had to specialize in Scarlet Star Spirit Chi, Swift Wind Spirit Chi, and other killing profound Spirit Chi, or else he would not be able to do this. The four of them fell to the ground, their chests caved in, and their internal organs were shattered. They died with grievances and were extremely miserable. Suyin shifted his gaze and looked at the person, only to see that it was a middle-aged man that he had never seen before. Without waiting for him to speak, a large number of Mu family guards rushed over. Even Mu Tianhao and the higher-ups of the Mu family rushed over. Roar! A soul-shaking roar rippled out, and in the pitch-black night sky, two green beings that looked like Qilin stepped out. They looked like spirits, their entire bodies were green, and their legs were emitting green flames. They looked mighty and extraordinary. Looking carefully, they were actually the two statues that he saw at the entrance of the Mu family. He never thought that the two statues would actually come alive. Su Yin was surprised. The Mu family's actions were rather fast. What happened? Mu Tianhao brought his men and ran over. Seeing the four corpses on the floor, his face darkened and shouted, "Muzwa! Reporting to Master, Muzwa is here." Deacon Elder Muzwa immediately stood out from the crowd. What's going on? Who are these people? Why are they in the guest room? And to assassinate my Mu family's guest? This. Muzwa's face was flustered. He did not know how to explain. Quickly settle this matter. Quickly give me an explanation. Other than that, I will punish you to guard the Grand Elder's grave for 10 days. Get down. Mu Tianhao shouted with a cold face. Mu. Muzwa obeys. Muzwa lowered his head, replied softly, and left. Muyu, Master. Muyu cupped his fists. You are in charge of investigating the identity of these people. You must get to the bottom of this. Yes, Master. After Muyu replied, he ordered his men to take care of the four corpses. Mu Tianhao took a deep breath and cupped his fists toward Su Yun. Young Master Su, are you all right? Luckily, this expert came in time. I'm fine. Su Yun here. I have to thank this almighty being. Su Yun cupped his fists towards the brown-robed man and said. Mu Tianhao looked at the brown-robed man and frowned. Second brother, it's so late. Why are you here? Second brother? So the brown-robed man was the patriarch Mu Tianhao's younger brother. Big brother, I just happened to pass by and heard the sounds of fighting, so I came over to take a look. I never thought that there would be people causing trouble in my Mu family, so I lent a hand. Luckily, the guest is not injured. It's truly a blessing. The brown-robed man revealed a relieved look and wiped the sweat off his forehead. Is that so? Mu Tianhao's face was extremely calm. He stared at the brown-robed middle-aged man for a moment. The man lowered his head and did not say a word. After a long while, Mu Tianhao waved his hand and said, Pass down the order. Arrange for elite guards to guard the place where the guest is resting tonight. Let's put this matter aside for now. Wait for Muyu to find out the reason. Then we will make a decision. With that, Mu Tianhao was about to leave. Wait, big brother. Just then, the brown-robed man suddenly spoke. What's wrong, second brother? Mu Tianhao looked at him. Big brother, I heard that the guest is going to Electric Wood Forest tomorrow to find the electric wood that can save Nephew Feng's life. I wonder if that's true? If that's true, as Feng Er's second uncle, I would like to show my sincerity and follow the guest to Electric Wood Forest tomorrow. I hope Big Brother will allow it. The brown-robed man cupped his fists and said. Mu Tian Hao stared at him. His lips trembled for a while, and said, "No need, second brother. Electric wood forest is too dangerous. The guest has a special way to get the electric wood. I'm worried if you go. It's better that you stay here." With that, he did not care about the brown-robed man, and turned to leave. Su Yin glanced at the brown-robed man, and lowered his head to think about something. The storm ended very quickly. The 4 assassins were dead, and there was no evidence. Mu could not find anything even if he wanted to investigate. He only knew that the 4 of them were invited spirit cultivators, not the Mu family, so there were no more clues. After Su Yun returned to his room, Mu Tian Hao's elite guards arrived, a total of 20 10th-stage Spirit Core disciple experts, equipped luxuriously, with treasures all over their bodies. They were probably the core strength of the Mu family. With these guards, Su Yun naturally had no worries and returned to his room to train. But after sitting in the room for a while, the profound spirit qi in his body started to stir. Su Yun knew he was about to break through and immediately held his breath, concentrating all his attention on the qi channels in his body. It seemed that the monarch occult force had a certain increase in cultivation. Su Yun felt that the spirit essences and qi channels, as compared to before, had a huge change. The qi channels were tougher, and the spirit essences were more open. So. The surging qi leaked out from the spirit essences and started to flow through the qi channels. The monarch occult force in his heart and the everlasting stone in front of his chest blossomed with light, and a pale white qi penetrated through the roof and rushed into the clouds. The surrounding elite guards all turned to look and looked at the house in the middle. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.